Welcome back to the Eurozone broadcast. We're fighting the microphones over here. How are you doing, Ruben? All good?
Yeah, good, pretty good.
I'm so happy to have you back in the studio. It's
And
been a while.
we have great news this week, right?
Yeah,
So,
we only
amazing.
positive headlines. No, look, it's it's a terrible world out there. So feel free to chime in if you have your own points of view you want to throw at us. But yeah, we have a lot of big topics to cover, and we have two guests that I had planned for today. So I think we should just get into it, because otherwise I'm gonna regret that we didn't cover enough topics. So yeah, I just quickly want to check that we're live properly. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about Iran, of course, and then we have two guests. One of them still from the VONK Amsterdam, who is running the party that is running in the Amsterdam elections, getting their take on it. It's important to remember, I think, that in these times that where fascism is taking over, you can actually fight back quite a bit through local elections, right? So I hope that brings a positive note somewhere. And at the end, I also have a personal friend who's joining, longtime friend, and he's gonna tell us a little bit about the nightmares of the Dutch healthcare system. So that will also be interesting. But let's jump into Iran right away, and feel free to say hello if you're in the chat. And yeah, here we go. Today marks day 7 of NATO's war of annihilation against Iran. Yesterday, Trump made clear that NATO will no longer accept any peace deal with Iran other than complete surrender. At the same time, Israel has launched its genocide on Lebanon, has resumed its genocide on Lebanon, launching a full ground offensive while carpet bombing the southern half of Lebanon. So for those of you that aren't caught up or have only been watching Western media, this is not exactly a fair fight. I would say it's not exactly a war. Just like how Israel tends to operate in the West Bank and in Gaza, they are doing the same now in Lebanon and to Iran, which means that the primary targets are, of course, civilian infrastructure, trying to just stop all possibilities of life. So what we've seen already in Iran is 13 hospitals getting bombed, quite some schools. On the first day, they killed over 150 elementary school students, an all-girls elementary school, by bombing the school with a direct hit. And
barely got any coverage as well, because they were talking about the possible death of the Ayatollah, of course, which dominated the whole news cycle for the day.
Yeah, I mean, this is also... this is Western, I don't know what to call it. This is the NATO way at this point, right? What else can we expect? When you enter a fight with NATO, you can expect that their primary targets will be the weakest in your society, the weakest links, so the schools and the hospitals.
It's another point of proof for the argument that I believe the Professor Jung is making as well. Like, it's more of a ritual sacrifice is element of it as well. And if you see that at day 1 they have to hit, for some reason, a girls' primary school, then you start feeling like this is really true. It's not just a theory or a hypothesis.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get into the reasons why this is happening. But as you're alluding to there, one of the big ones is people are suspecting that it's because of this Christian fascist Armageddon theory, or I don't know, cult-like thinking, that there's a big sect in America that believes that it's time for the world to end in order for Jesus to come back, and that Israel is going to do that by launching an all-out war of annihilation to all its neighbors, right? Yeah, I think there's two views here. It could still be just practical, that they're trying to expand as a colony always does, and therefore it's a numbers game. They need to diminish the amount of civilians from the out group so that they can replace them with the in group. That could be the case, but as you're saying, it could also at this point be just a ritualistic sacrifice of children. I mean, it seems weird to, on day 1, like top of the list on your bombing list,
I mean,
is a girls' primary school. You know, that's
I did hear some theorizing about how it used to be maybe a base for some military purposes, and that, but this was a school on the base, but whatever, it wasn't a military base anymore.
Yeah, I think,
and it's a lot of how do you say, just noise, I guess.
yeah, maybe people aren't aware of how military bases look like in today's day and age, because you might think it's like World War II. It's like a hangar for airplanes, some tanks, and that's it. Those are the sort of military bases you find in the battlefield. Military bases that are stationary inside of countries are more like small gated communities. So what you have in there more than anything is a sort of embassy, let's say a paperwork station where military services get organized. You have some personnel, maybe you have some military assets like I don't know, cars, mobile units, maybe even a helicopter, but it's not the same as a field military base, which is where you have like all of the tanks, all of the missiles, and so on. So a military base, for example, the American ones, they have KFC, they have Starbucks, they have McDonald's, they have schools, they have basketball courts, and yes, a lot of them have places for families to come and stay with them. So if, for example, military families often relocate on missions with their whole family, so they bring their wives, their partners, and their children, and they need to go to school somewhere, and so it's very common that military bases have schools, hospitals, and so on. Right. But in any case, that was their primary target. Of course, they also went after all the political leaders. We're gonna get into that in a second. And very interestingly, they also went after all of the opposition leaders. So basically, any figure who could unify Iran, whether or not they were with the regime, has been killed primarily by Israel, but it looks like also some deep state elements in the US. So yeah, this is a total war of annihilation. Any and all justifications given until now fall flat. I made a video, but in case anyone hasn't realized, we're the bad guys. That's not to say that the Ayatollah was a great man or a very super good guy. That's none of my business in any case.
This is what keeps frustrating me. Like so many people, let's just say normies, and they will still try to justify this kind of thing, like on these lame, worn out old excuses that don't make sense. They aren't true. But somehow, if people die over there, it doesn't matter so much or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I understand if people have opinions about liberties and civilian life in Iran. Again, none of my business. That's not my opinion, but I understand if people, especially if they're from Iran or from the region, have those thoughts. But to pretend that we in any way are better than the regime, I mean, at this point, I don't even think we're better than North Korea.
No.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but
much. No.
Look at the numbers. How many children go missing every year in Europe and in the US? And now we know why. Like, if in case you haven't seen our hours and hours and hours documenting the Epstein files, I mean, that's what's happening. We are run by people who are the worst of the worst, and I don't think you can point at any country at this point and say that they are doing it wrong from a Western perspective, because our leaders are the main problem.
And frustratingly enough, even like Katapiri was one of the people from GroenLinks who wanted to implement the weapons embargo on Israel. And what you see here is the same reflex that we had with Maduro as well in Venezuela. So they will do a statement condemning the action or the aggression, but they will start out with saying the bloodthirsty regime in Iran, the dictatorial regime in Venezuela, whatever. If people start out with this one, it's the same as do you condemn Hamas, and it's if you participate in it, you are disqualified. You are you are not with it.
No, you get kicked out of society, of civil society, if you talk the way that we are, kind of. No, but my ask is not for you to adore the Iranian regime. My ask is for you to, instead of starting every sentence with the brutal dictators in Iran, started with the brutal dictators in Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
Started with the Epstein class in Europe, who has never met a war they don't like, who on the first day kill 150 children. I mean, this is crazy.
But I do see a lot of people adopting this kind of phrasing more and more to be like the Epstein regime or the Epstein empire.
Yeah, it used to feel fresh. I used to feel a bit like edgy when I said it, but now everyone's doing it. But that's good. That's good. Yeah. So, how did we get here? let's take a few steps back. Look, I'm not gonna go through the whole history. We did that already for I think an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So if you want to see that, go check out the previous streams and videos. But there is a few interesting points in the timeline, immediate timeline leading up to the war. So the first thing I would say is, I think Trump and the people around him were very bloodthirsty and excited after what they managed to do in Venezuela. And they thought that they could apply the same formula to Iran. So going in, very quickly killing the leader, instantly opening contact with somebody to replace the leader, the Ayatollah, and then getting all of their demands met, right? Yeah. No matter how ridiculous, including taking all of the oil if they want to. So that's what they did on the first day, and they successfully killed the Ayatollah. But it looks like certain elements, particularly in Israel, but also within the top military command in the US, were happy to take advantage of the situation to also go out and kill all of the opposition leaders in Iran, all of the second, third, and fourth layer of command in Iran. Like I saw a graphic which is insane. So you have every single post of importance. They've taken out literally number 1, 2, and 3. So all of the successors are also gone, which I think highlights that this regime change operation has been hijacked and is now more a failed state operation, right? Israel is not happy with any form of Iranian sovereignty or country existing. They want a complete failed state so that there can never be any opposition to their expansion. And
they succeeded in this plan in Syria, right? And it's kind of looks like the playbook is repeating with arming the Kurds or asking the Kurds to do some incursions, trying to sow like sectarian divisions, trying to get a civil war going. And then when they have the chance, they can just take out all military assets of the state, like they did in Syria, and you have a completely disabled neighbor that cannot pose any threat anymore.
That's the goal. It's just to completely eradicate the civilizations around you.
And it doesn't matter how much people lives it costs, just they want to destroy every kind of threat in the area.
And the divide and conquer mechanism has been seen so many times, right? I mean, if you look at the whole Muslim majority part of the world, it goes all the way from North Africa in Algeria, Morocco, and so on, all the way through the Middle East, where you have some of the most resource-intense countries, especially when it comes to oil. You have the Strait of Hormuz. Then you have Iran. So you even have you start getting into some areas which are very fertile. You move through Pakistan, over the north of India, and you go all the way down to Indonesia, right? Which is already in East Asia. So you're covering the entire belt of the world outside of the Americas. And this belt together could, in theory, control the entire world. Because Russia, China, Europe in the north would have to go through all of these countries in order to have any trade with the global south. So already being able to divide all of these countries into constant bickering and fighting and wars with each other is a huge success. And the next thing they do is they balkanize everything, right? So they take a country like Iran, and if they get their way, in 10 years from now, it's going to be a failed state with a bunch of factions. Just
Balochistan, Kurdistan, whatever, it will fall out in different parts, and that's it.
So that's the end goal that kind of hijacked the operation. And there's also a few reports saying that Trump was not super happy to start this war. He could see the downside, but obviously he has a lot of support from Israeli donors. They fund his campaign, and he loves money. Likewise with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. A lot of these people funding his campaign also love Israel and have ties to them. So there's just, let's say, that's the carrot part of the approach. And then the stick, from the classic metaphor of the carrot and the stick. The stick part was that if the US did not bomb Iran, Israel was threatening to nuke Iran, so to drop a nuclear weapon on Iran.
That's what they say.
These are speculations. So this part is not confirmed news, but there is some reporting that might have played a role in Trump's decision making there.
at least Rubio came out and said that Israel was going to strike them anyway.
And who knows what that strike looks like.
Did you see the guy who remade the meme of like, Jakub, if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it?
Exactly. If we don't bomb Iran, they're going to bomb Iran. And when they bomb Iran, we're going to also have to bomb Iran. No,
so better if we bomb Iran now.
So better.
The circular logic is
it's
also
so
really
funny.
fun.
So this is how propaganda works, by the way, right? They hijack reality, create an alternative reality where what they do is logical. So it's not that there's a logical fallacy there. Once you've accepted their reality, it's just that they completely twist how reality works, right? So at that point, Marco Rubio, he says, if we had not acted preemptively to protect our servicemen, we would have had a hearing in Congress asking us why so many servicemen died. So the logical thing to do in order to protect our American military personnel is to preemptively strike.
And to move them out of the military bases and use all the people in the Gulf states as human shields for American soldiers in hotels. Amazing
logic.
Such courageous soldiers. Oh
exactly. My God. So but let's get into, so that's kind of the immediate reasons why this happened, but let's get into the three, I think, underlying motives that are pushing this forward. And I'm gonna present three to you today that I'm quite confident on, and I want to make it clear that these are cascading. So the first one that I'm gonna mention, which is Christian Zionism, is the main driver, right? This is what's in the driver's seat, and the other two are not as much motivations, just more complicity, reasons for why the elite class in the US, in Israel, and Europe accept this war. So the first reason is deep state. It comes from the deep state, whatever you want to describe that as. Some of these secret societies, the real people driving the agenda inside of NATO countries. And what they believe in is end time Christianity plus Zionism. So this is really a spiritual belief that Zionism is important because once Greater Israel is constructed and they expand their borders beyond all of their neighbors, the process of that happening will create such an Armageddon war that we will be in the biblical end times, and Jesus will come back and save us all. And well, then he has to choose if he believes the Christians or the Jews. We don't know. The Israelis say that the Messiah will come back and damn all of the Christians to hell, and will keep a few of them as servants, I believe.
Yeah, well, they don't say he will come back, right? They say he will come.
He will come for the first
because
time. My bad.
Jesus, it wasn't Jesus.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, my bad.
And then the Christians believe Jesus comes back.
Yeah, exactly. And when Jesus comes back, according to the Christians, he will damn all the Jews to either slavery or hell. I'm not exactly sure, but you get the point. This is they're allied in their spiritual belief that the end times have to arrive now, and the way to do that is by constructing Greater Israel. And now, if you don't believe me, by the way, I see Elias O'Graverson there in the chat. Thanks for joining live. That's my brother. I hope you're doing good and that your music career is
the one up. With the video.
Yes, the one with the video. Okay. Yeah, if you guys are watching this recorded on YouTube, we do this live every Saturday, by the way. We're not funded by anyone. We do this for the love of the game. We're here on our weekend. Ruben is a doctor. I have a normal office job, but we're tired of the system, so we spend our free time doing this. Anyways, let's get into why the Americans, or the proof that I have that the Americans were doing this because of end times Christian fascism. So I'm gonna zoom in a bit here. And this is from The Guardian in the UK. U.S. troops were told war on Iran was all parts of God's divine plan, Watchdog alleges. So basically, I'm going to summarize it a bit for you, but a lot of reports, a lot of reporters or journalists were getting anonymous tips from the soldiers on the Navy carriers in the US. Now, the Navy carriers were already a bit controversial because there were sabotage attempts from the troops trying to clog the plumbing in order to destroy the sewage system. So much so that there were posters that people took picture of on the ship, on the Navy cruiser. I'm not sure what it's called, the destroyer.
The destroyer.
Yeah. That were telling the soldiers that they should basically go overboard like hang their asses off the board of the ship in order to use the bathroom, because the actual bathrooms had been clogged by clothes. So the soldiers were essentially trying to make it impossible to keep this ship running in a very silly.
Could you imagine this whole ship being sabotaged just by blocking the sewage?
So, and the reason why I think is becoming clear. So a lot of reporters had contact with these soldiers because of the story, and then they started getting these anonymous tips, which kind of explains the mentality inside of the military elites in the U.S., right? So there's a really nice one here. He said, this is a quote from one of the soldiers. He said that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire on Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth. Anytime Israel or the US is involved in the Middle East, we get this stuff about Christian nationalism. Who've taken over our government, and certainly our US military. Military members are not really able to stand up for themselves because your military superior is not your shift manager at Starbucks, he added. Okay, so basically he's saying, look, every time we're in the Middle East and we're being sent to fight a war, we start hearing all of this nonsense coming from our superiors.
Yeah.
And he says that this actually reflects the common line, the common thinking inside of the US military. So that's the main motivation, is that they really believe that by ending the world, Jesus Christ will come back. And I don't know what happens after that we all get saved or something, right? So this is also to just highlight to you guys sorry, the video started playing. This is also to highlight to you guys the insanity, which is the American logic, right? So we all have to go to work, to war, in order to stop the oppressive Islamic regime in Iran. But meanwhile, this is what our leaders are doing. So this is in the White House, the leader of the free world, the leader of NATO, and I'm going to play the video.
Lifting up the arms of our president. We pray for your continued blessing and favor to rest upon him. We pray for wisdom from heaven to flood his heart, his mind, and Lord, you will guide him in these challenging times that we're facing today. I pray for your grace and your...
I pray that God helps you annihilate the people of Iran, every man, woman, and child. And around him are all of the sycophants who are helping him in this. This lady here in the red is his personal
girly pop with the bop.
Yeah, yeah. She is the spiritual advisor, the girl boss responsible for telling this orange man that if he does not kill everyone in Iran, Jesus will not come back to save us. Look, I think these guys are the Taliban, you know, like I think this is the Christian Taliban. I don't know what else to tell you. This is the Christian ISIS.
But people are completely blind to there being a possibility of Christianity being involved with like a nationalistic or extremist ideology, when in fact we know that Nazi Germany as well built its foundation on the Reformed and Protestant churches in Germany as well. So it's nothing new, but people are unable to see it when it comes to Christianity for some reason.
Yeah. But I think it's because they're all white people dressed in suits and ties and like office attire.
They cannot be extremist.
Exactly. So you just assume that this is the right guys. But, you know, if you took all the framing, all the complaints that we have about religious zealots or extremism in other countries, it applies here too. These men are murderers, and many of these people are in the Epstein files. Don't forget that this is the pedophile in charge sitting right here. This is the guy who ordered a strike to kill 150 schoolgirls in Iran, and he's doing it because of Jesus, right? Or at least this is the cover that he's using.
Yeah, I don't think Trump is religious.
I don't think Trump is religious, but a lot of the people around him believe in the end times, and that's why this war is being pushed through, and that's why it's been planned for the last 40 years, right?
Your protection over him. Yes. I pray for your grace and protection on all of our men and women serving in our armed forces. Yes. And Father, we just pray you'll continue to give. I just look at this guy's hand. This guy's hand, you know, like it's also, by the way, the people who pray like it's evangelical. This is not. I'm not gonna go there.
No, go there.
It's not even good old European Christian Protestants, you know, or Catholics. These are, but that's fine. You can believe what you want to believe as long as you're not in the White House making choices.
There's this big overlap, I think, at least there's between evangelical Christianity and like the New Age movement in the 90s and the kind of mystical thinking and the Jehovah Witness movement, religion.
Absolutely. And in Europe, because especially in the Netherlands and Germany, because of the deep ties with American culture, some of that kind of flushed back into our societies, it seems like. Or maybe we were the original ones. I don't know enough.
Black gospel music got adopted somewhat in white churches in the Netherlands as well. Just the music without any of the background or the story, because it sounds good and black people look fun when they sing and dance.
Right. He's saying that quoting the racist Europeans, by the way. Yes. Because I realized.
I mean, that's why they adopt it into their church, not because they have any linkage with the culture or history of
with
black gospel behind it and the struggle. Yeah. No, that's not my words. No.
Yeah, I know. Usually it's very obvious when you're being sarcastic, but I was just like, let me just make sure.
Yeah. Good.
So that is, it's Christian ISIS is why we have this war in Iran. And one layer below that are all of the oligarchs which run the American and European system. So you have Israel, Zionism, and Christianity, right? Christian fascism. And below that, because Israel is above our oligarchs, we have all of the advisors around Trump, all of the people who fund Trump's campaigns, all of the people who own all of the politicians in our society. And they are in favor of this war, not necessarily for a religious reason, but just because they're going to make money from the price of oil going up and from all of the arms, all of the weapons that we are shipping to Israel, Europe, and beyond. So that's your classic greed, right? But I think it's important to make a distinction that the greed people have been surpassed now by the religious zealots in the US.
So that makes it more dangerous, right? Because now even if the war becomes unprofitable, like it did before in Iraq or Afghanistan, that's not definitively the reason it's gonna stop.
Exactly. So we have very few ways out of this Armageddon war, because even Iran is different from Afghanistan because they can shut the Strait of Hormuz, which will crash the whole Western economy. There is no way that our stock markets, which is the only thing fueling Western economies, can sustain themselves without the constant injection of the Saudi oil money, the Qatari oil money. So that's very dangerous because the elites are no longer governed explicitly by money. They are now in a spiritual Epstein-style journey, right, on a mission, let's say, to bring the end of the world. And one layer below them are the general elites, I would say, and these are, they get some of the profits. They also might be religious or whatnot, but overall, the reason that they are okay with this agenda, that they are not waking up or fighting against the idea coming from the top, is because they're kind of brainwashed at this point to expect the US to win. So this is what Professor Zhang, which you mentioned before, calls hubris. Nes, can I ask you to get our guest? He's outside. Yes, thanks. He said, is it upstairs? So he might already be in the main room. Okay.
But this is the only functional door.
Yeah, so I'll let him know that... okay. So basically, the hubris that comes from the general American elite is going to allow the Christian zealots and the oligarchs to go through with this war because they believe the lies, right? That we have more than enough ammunition. This is not going to crash the economy. Because we're just going to escort every ship out of the Strait of Hormuz, so on. But as you might know, that's being put into doubt because Iran is a big country and they might actually succeed in this war.
Yeah,
let's see.
Just they don't have to do that much, right? They just have to stay stay put, survive, be able to maintain some kind of firepower in the form of missiles or otherwise, and just slightly terrorizing the Gulf is also maybe effective enough to make the cost, not for the United States, but for the Gulf states enough that they want out. But then the question is, can they get out?
Yeah, and we don't know. I would say my proof for the hubris is the fact that Bahrain shot down 3 American F-16s, even though they're supposed to be on the same side. So that was friendly fire. That's been confirmed now. And the interceptors, which are supposed to stop, they would. And even when they are working, they have to shoot so many and they cost so much that they are burning 1 to 12 million United States dollars on every ballistic missile incoming from Iran. So, yeah. Hey, how's it going? We're going to finish a quick segment and then we'll bring you on later. Yeah. Do you mind coming in and just closing? That would be great. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We have Niels who just arrived in the building, but we're going to finish this topic and then bring him on. So, and of course, the Americans have also been caught leaving a lot of their military bases undefended, which means that we also see a pattern where America is struggling to keep up the war machine and to keep up with the amount of incoming fire from Iran. So all of this hubris together means that it's going to be difficult to convince the American elites that this is against their interests.
Yeah. And what I hear from people that are in Dubai actually is that the amount of censorship inside the United Arab Emirates right now is so high that it's really impossible for anyone there to speak out. Like all these influencers, they have to go online to say that everything's fine and everything's perfectly normal in Dubai when well, it's not completely normal, at least.
Yeah, so the censor is working overtime in Israel and UAE. So it's also difficult to rely on your average citizen selfie or phone videos coming out because a lot of those are being taken down immediately. And also, I know from CNN they admitted that they're not going to show footage of the rubble in Tel Aviv because Israel doesn't want them to. They said that.
They said it literally
live on air. So what happens next? Look, NATO has a red line, which is losing Israel. They cannot afford to lose their number one ally in the Middle East.
Their number one military base in the Middle East.
And so you're going to see this war end very quickly if Israel starts to really feel threatened. And that might happen if they start running low on interceptors. It's difficult to figure out what's going to happen first, if the interceptors are going to run out or if the Iranians are going to run out of missiles. I can't tell you that, but this is just to tell you where the red lines are and what we have in terms of a way out. Because as I explained, the economic crash, although it could turn some of the elites against the war in Iran, because of the religious element, they might keep going regardless. So really the only red line that could stop this war is if Israel legitimately fears for its survival, which again, I don't know if that's going to happen. So that means that most likely what we're going to see in the upcoming weeks is a full ground invasion. So we already have the Kurds being contacted by Donald Trump. He said that he's given out phone calls now basically saying you're either with us or against us in this war. At the same time, you also have a lot of the ISIS-aligned militias from Syria, which has now been taken over by these militias, looking to both invade Lebanon and the Shia militias in Iraq. So they're going to go both ways.
They are not even trying to hide the fact anymore that they're really a proxy group for the American empire, I guess.
And by the way, Lebanon is an absolute disaster right now. So the southern half has been ordered an evacuation. Everyone is fleeing to the north. The people in the north are not very welcoming to the people in the south because they're more pro-NATO. So you have a lot of refugees just sleeping in the streets. I've been contacted by a few of them. And it's looking very ugly, and they're very scared now that these Syrian militias are going to come in and join the Israeli ground offensive into Lebanon. and then you also have, for some reason, Azerbaijan is slowly building up as well, on the northern border with Iran, and that's, well, they say it's because there's 30 million, I think, Azerbaijani ethnics living in Iran, so there is some nationalistic element which could take advantage of this in order to unify the greater Azerbaijan back together. So
so it's not going to be really American troops, right? But it's going to be surrounding countries or proxy groups for now.
Yeah, well, there are 50,000 American troops in the region, so that they might come into play, right? We don't know if it's going to be a joint invasion, if it's just going to be one of these groups. I mean, I don't know if all of these groups will also fall for it, because we've seen this script so many times, and the Kurds have been used for stuff like this so many times. And you have Turkey there, who is not going to be very comfortable with a Kurdish state taking place, right? Because the Kurds also want to claim some territories in Turkey. So it's all very messy. I can't tell you what the final factions that group together this ground invasion will look like, but for sure we're heading in that direction, and the other even worse outcome would be a nuclear weapon being dropped on Iran.
If they get desperate, maybe, and there's no other way to win, and they want out.
So that's where we are. I think we had some points around Europe and the European response to this, but since we
which is kind of moi, all over. Since
we have a guest coming up, I think maybe we can save this for a separate segment. And just end it there for now. So
they did the predictable statements, right?
But you can check that out in the following video. If you're joining live, stick around. We have many more interesting topics for you. If you're watching this pre-recorded, then feel free to subscribe. We do all of this for free. We're in a semi-abandoned building with a small studio.
I do have to pay for it.
Yeah, it is paid for, but we don't make any.
It's not for
money.
free, but
yeah. So this is purely for the love of the game. And if you enjoy it, then feel free to stick around and share it with your friends as well. Amazing. All right, Niels, feel free to join us here. How are you doing? I think, this way might be easier. If you can make your way here, I know it's a little bit of a tight corner. See? This microphone was older. Do you need me to adjust it a bit? Was not sure how tall you were. Perfect. Amazing. How's it going? All good?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, it's in a few days, right? I'll take some water as well. Would be amazing. Yeah.
Let's 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
18th of March. Yeah.
Nice. And how's it looking? Are you hoping to get a few seats, or is it?
Of course, we're hoping to get a few seats.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a bit of parties on the left.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we have a very unique. We're the only serious party, I think, which with a very outspoken anti-capitalist, anti-colonialist view.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that appeals to a lot of people in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
so,
definitely to us. I mean, you heard a little bit about what we were talking about there in the last segment. So yeah, I'm excited to get into that. I did want to ask before we start the real segment, what is your role inside of the VONK? Because I know Chris is on the top of the list, right? Who we interviewed last time. What is your role? I don't know if you're on the list.
I'm on the list as well. I'm number 5.
Okay.
I mainly look from an activist and social scientist perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a high school teacher, and I've been a long-standing activist for different activist organizations. So I'm particularly interested in the question: how are we going to organize against the coming fascism? The internal contradictions sharpening on the horizon. How are we gonna organize here in the Netherlands against that?
Amazing. Okay. Well, that aligns very well with the framing I set up for the segment. So I hope you'll enjoy the intro once we get there. The only thing I'd ask you is just to be a bit closer to the mic overall.
Sure.
And feel free to adjust it however feels good. Okay. And then I'll start the record. This is all live, but I'll start recording the actual segment. And I'll do a quick intro and then we'll get into it. And if you want to pre-read the questions, you'll find them here as well on the screen. So,
right.
Yeah. All right. Fascism is sweeping through Europe, claiming one parliament after the other. As our governments sell out to the American imperialism and capitalism, some residents are fighting back by organizing in local elections. Joining me now is Niels Mook, I hope I said that correctly, who is number 5 on the list from the VONK, which is a political party running in the Amsterdam elections on March 18th. I've already gotten my voting pass and I'm not a Dutch resident, so to our English-speaking viewers or just general non-Dutch residents, you can still vote if you are a resident in Amsterdam, particularly if you are an EU resident, but also non-EUs who have lived here for more than 2 years, I believe, will get a voting pass in your mail that you can use to vote. And I hope that in this video, you maybe learn a bit more about one of the parties that I'm very excited about. So obviously we have already had a lot of strong leftist parties. They don't always get the most votes, but I think they're very, at least the papers that they put forward, their flyers are very well-rounded, let's say. They're very complete from a leftist point of view. So my first question is always, why did you start a new party? What is it with the VONK that is special or bringing a different energy?
That's a very good question. I think the VONK is actually the only party that is very clear on their direction. So of course you have bijeen, but we are very clearly anti-capitalist. So we're really speaking to this particular public that's also anti-capitalist, which is a lot of people in Amsterdam. I mean, there's the intellectuals, but there's a lot of people who know they're anti-capitalist without knowing that they're anti-capitalist. And so that clear direction for me is a very good reason why the VONK has started. Where we are clearly directed towards this goal, but we're also very open. So we want to be very open to people who are curious about what anti-capitalism is and who want to know more, and who also feel that they can't pay the rent or that they aren't heard by the municipality, and then hope they find answers within our party.
Amazing. I know, Ruben, you voted for bijeen before.
In the national elections last time,
And in the European Parliament elections, I voted for SP, so the Socialist Party.
Yeah.
So we're both, I think, kind of in your target group, let's say. I fell out with the SP once they were a bit wish-washy on Palestine, a bit here, a bit there, but a lot of their social policies make sense.
And they used to be one of the biggest pro-Palestine parties, like 10, 15 years back. They were a lot more outspoken than they are now. So we see some of these things, some of these unfortunate changes. So, I mean, you mentioned that you guys are the only ones that are clear. Maybe can you explain what is it that the other parties are falling short of that you want to achieve through the VONK? And we can go into specific policy if you prefer.
So I think in general, what you see within SP is that they are the people that vote for SP. They are mainly white people and also mainly older people.
So I fit the demographic. Yes, thanks for
we're not so
insulting. No, that's fine.
And I mean, I think they have a lack of clear views on Palestine because of that.
Yeah.
And they also don't have the anti-colonialist view because of that, I think.
Yeah, they have more the labor union kind of background. So working within the system, working with the social partners, this kind of
exactly.
So
perspective.
is that the big difference? Is that, you know, the classic leftist parties are more like pro NATO, pro capitalism, but just want the workers to have an equal share of the profits, let's say, or a good share of the profits, whereas the VONK is maybe going a step further and saying we actually need to challenge how the system is set up fundamentally.
Yes, exactly. That's right. I think we can all see also that SP has a lot of, they're really fighting in the system. We call ourselves a revolutionary party also. So we don't necessarily believe that the solutions are in the system. We do want to have a voice in the system, in the municipality, to make sure that the alternative anti-system voices are made bigger.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So then, getting specifically into it, for example, what does that mean for housing, right? Because anyone who lives in Amsterdam knows that it eats away at your salary. If you're lucky enough to have a good salary, it's still going to take a majority of your monthly payments or your monthly salary just goes straight to rent. And a lot of people can't even afford the rent. And if they can afford, they can't find anywhere to live because you have these ridiculous rent requirements that are like, okay, your salary needs to be 4 or 5 times the rent. So for a small studio in Amsterdam, by the way, that means you need to earn like 6,000 to 7,000 euros a month just to have like an entry level studio of 30 to 40 meters. So what is Devon going to, how are you going to address that?
Yeah, so I'll get to that in a bit, but about that thing, I mean, I'm a high school teacher and in Amsterdam, and I've been homeless, which means I'm hopping from one place to another for 2 years now already. And I'm not the only one. I know a lot of young people are struggling with this, and it's so crazy that this is the case. That big landlords, investment corporations, they are allowed to have homes being empty here in Amsterdam. But I as a teacher, I can't even get a home. So this is crazy.
And
right?
you're doing a public service that we all need. We need high schools and we need teachers in those high schools. It's not like you're refusing to work or not contributing to society. And still you cannot find a house inside of the city where you teach. Right?
Exactly. So the system, it's just totally fine.
And then they try to solve it, right, by being like, well, for nurses and teachers, you will get a bit of priority in the social housing waiting list or stuff like that. Just putting band-aids on the bigger problem.
So when I will have finished my education, I might be on that list. Then I still have to wait for a year to get a house if I'm on that list. So there's just not enough houses. So then to jump to the solution to that, I mean, I think it's twofold. So on the one hand, we see that the system isn't there for us. So we need to radically think different about this system. We need to radically rethink, okay, how is it justifiable that you can have a property that gets more and more that gets more and more valuable just by sitting there, while others have to work off their asses to to make only a fraction of what you can earn by just owning houses. So this is the main anti-capitalist communist stance, right?
And just to highlight it, I mean, to bring a bit of theory into it, right? So you have the landlord, as you say, who contributes nothing to society other than owning the property, which you are priced out of, and he earns more money every year because of this house than you, who is a high school teacher and who is actually contributing to society and doing something good. I mean, again, education for the young is like one of the top priorities in a society, I would say. So it is a complete failure of market capitalism.
Yeah, it's a complete failure. So what to do about it? I think now we have to not only put band-aids, but we have to heavily invest in social housing. So, and we also have to make sure that the right people are making the right choices. So now for a big portion of the houses, it's investors, capitalist investors, who are choosing where to build and what to build, which means very expensive houses.
Yeah.
We as the VONK think that we should have a municipal organization. That's the boss of all this, because the municipal organization has the intention of building houses for people, not for profit.
Yeah. Right.
So they have to be there. We want to invest 300 million in housing. We know how we're going to pay that. We're going to get the tourist tax up, and we're going to make house owners pay a little bit more.
Yeah, house owners as well.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that was left out of the last discussion we had with Chris, if I remember. He was more focused on the tourism tax.
Yeah.
So what does the house owner tax look like? Or
so you have a specific tax that you pay if you own a house.
It's VOZ, right? This one, or
OZB.
Oh, OZB. Okay.
Yeah. And and you pay this tax, and if they pay a little bit more a month, then it means that like the people who earn more pay in comparison also more. It's a percentage. Then we can pay this easily. Yeah.
And with 300 million, that's a big budget. How does that? I don't know how to frame this, but how does that? How many houses does that look like? Because we also had the fake promises from D66 and Rob Yetten that he was going to build 10 beautiful cities.
Yeah.
Turns out that all of them are in Tel Aviv.
It was a metaphor.
But yeah, it's a metaphor.
Yeah.
So how does that compare with their metaphor? And how does it compare with also just the reality? Like how many houses would that look like?
I can't jump into specifics. Also, I don't want to make promises on output.
Yeah.
But with 300 million, you can build a lot of houses.
And do you have any response to this D66 neoliberal failure on this topic? They use it for campaigning, and then now they're not delivering, right?
Yeah, and it's so funny because Rob Yetten also says, you sometimes say things differently because it's campaign time. You don't always mean them. It's just to get votes. That's what he literally said.
And how can we make sure that's not the case with you then? How do I make sure that 300 million will actually be taken from the hands of, let's say, the tourism industry and the house owners to build new houses?
Yeah, so these are just rules that are in the hands of the municipality. So the municipality is there to get the taxes for the tourists, and is there also to get the OZB. So this is a very concrete thing we can do right after we get elected.
And I would imagine Rob Yetten has a very nice big house somewhere in the Netherlands. And you, on the other hand, are a victim of the housing crisis. So
exactly,
I think you have a lot more credibility on that note.
Yeah, and on top of that, Rob Yetten wants to get a higher salary. Like one of the first things he did when he got into office, he wants a higher salary for politicians. So it's very clear who he is facilitating. And for the VONK, we have the same thing, I think, as there is with the SP.
Yeah,
a part of your part of what you get from being into politics goes directly into the campaign.
Amazing.
That's one of the nice things that SP does as well, right? Which is really how do you say, commendable.
And then you, I mean, if you look a little bit further, you know how honest socialists are as opposed to people like Rob Yetten.
Yeah, definitely. I mean. I just want to quickly say, if he wants to get more money for politicians, I imagine CD is not paying him enough. Sorry to drop that there. Another thing, we were texting a bit before this interview, and you said that you're also very much focused on climate activism. So we didn't really go into that with Chris. So I'm interested in your ideas there as well. What can you do on the climate front from a municipal point of view?
Yeah, so from a municipal point of view, the first thing is there's a very fertile ground which is called the Lutkemeerpolder, and they're building it full of transport facilities, so storage facilities. These very big blocks, that are the ugliest thing
like
ever.
the Jumbo bol.com distribution center kind of.
And we want to build food parks, so we want to keep the Lutkemeerpolder. We want to make sure that there's food parks there. We want to make sure there's food parks in the city.
Sorry, a food park. I think this might be part of Amsterdam lore that I'm not aware of. So what does a food park?
So
entail?
this is a park that's not just a park,
Uh-huh.
but also a park that produces food for the community.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That would be great, because I mean we talk about housing, but the other issue is whatever money is left over. Okay, I'm gonna tell my personal anecdote. Like, I went to university here. I got a job that supposedly, is for educated, blah blah blah. And when I saw the salary, I was like, amazing, I made it. Because this money in Rome, when I was a kid, would have been enough to feed a family of 4 alone. And
you
now
could eat breakfast out every morning.
every day, yeah, you just like you could throw money out the window. But now here in the Netherlands, almost all of it goes to rent for a flat that's 39 meters, and I'm not living in a mansion. And whatever's left, I actually spend all of it at Jumbo or likewise, like not living a super luxurious life, but at the end of the month, there's not much left, or usually nothing. So, does that also tie into the food system or other areas of the cost of living crisis? These food parks, does that also help with that?
Yes, it does, because I think we need to radically change the way we look at our production of food. And economists always say it's sometimes cheaper to grow food on the other side of the world.
Yeah,
which is I think a very weird statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they can keep costs down maybe by not paying the farmers, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But that's not a sustainable solution, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And we have kind of the same issue as with housing, right? Maybe we should take a principled stance and just say you shouldn't profit off housing, you shouldn't profit off food. It's it's like a commodity everybody should have access to.
That's
exactly.
That's the biggest issue, is that when you monopolize and also create these international monopolies around the food chains, and all of a sudden we are unable to, or we forget, like, I have no idea how to grow food. Right, but if I was born in a society where we had food parks, I would have this knowledge, right? So the fact that the community has forgotten how to produce its own food because it's being done across the world, also means that we are reliant on these companies, and therefore they can charge us a higher profit. And in the end, what you end up wasting your money on is just the profits of the companies. So yeah, I'm really interested in this food park idea. On top of that, is there anything else in the climate section that the VONK or you yourself are interested in implementing?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we also really need to think about climate mitigation, because what the climate and ecological crisis is it's putting a strain on all our goods. At one point, it's like these internal contradictions that are heightening because of capitalism. They get even more heightened because of this climate and ecological crisis. So there's going to be points. So the points that we get less food, the points that we get less other products from other countries, it's going to be there. And so we need to be make sure that we don't pass the 2 degrees
threshold.
Because then it's going to be 4 degrees in 2100, and our economy could collapse in 10-20 years if we don't do anything about that. So I think we should, if we look in Amsterdam, we could stop. There's actually coal trains running through Amsterdam.
Okay.
So there's coal coming from Colombia, which is blood coal also. So Colombian people are dying because they're being exploited for their coal. This is going through the harbor of Amsterdam to be sold to Germany.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is even that the municipality is 100% shareholder of this harbor. So they're making money out of blood coal.
Yeah.
Now in this time and space, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I could go. It's very interesting you bring that up. Coincidentally, I've looked into they call them the resource wars or the coal wars in both Peru. You also have a little bit in Bolivia, but in Colombia especially.
Yeah.
So just very quickly to tell people, like, to tie it into the bigger picture, it's the same in Sudan and Congo and so on, right? You have these areas that are resource intense, so that have a lot of resources, and most of it is being controlled by local gangs, militias, that are also sitting in the government and in the police, and they fight literal wars in the mines and outside the mines about who gets to mine in this area and sell it to who? To the Europeans here in Amsterdam, right? Who then distribute it and make money. And I had no idea that the gemeente had ownership of this. So that just really highlights how the whole colonial and capitalist system together creates all this misery, right?
Yeah. So it's so important to look at how are we facilitating that here, and how can we stop that. So this is very easy. Just stop the coal from getting through the Amsterdam harbor.
And what is this coal being used for in Germany that we have so much of it?
Power generation is done a lot on coal still in Germany.
We could replace with wind energy, solar panels at this point. It's not 20 years ago.
Exactly.
We have the technology, right? Absolutely. Last question I have on policy, just healthcare. That's another one which is very tricky in the Netherlands. I'm half Danish, so I'm used to going in, getting my treatment, walking out, and not thinking about money. That's how my mom lived. That's how my grandparents lived. It was never an issue. So what do you see there from a gemeente point of view that you could do better? When it comes to healthcare.
So to be very honest, I didn't look into this topic so much. I know that the VONK is going to spend a lot of money on healthcare. And I think it's having this done on a local level more than on a national level is very necessary, because our national government is now giving 8 billion less to healthcare. So we're really breaking down our healthcare system even more. So we have to solve that locally. We have to take care of our own people in our own city.
One of the worst things that I've seen that they plan to do is to discontinue the reimbursements for the healthcare that is done at places that are uncontracted, not contracted with the insurance company, which is in the psychiatric care. It's like maybe 80% of the smaller parties in the field, they don't have a contract with the healthcare insurance, and so in a few years they are not able to even deliver care according to the healthcare system, according to the insurance.
This is exactly what's been happening in the US healthcare system, right? We're going that direction. Our healthcare is really deteriorating, and also we have to, like, our eigen risico. I'm not sure what the English term is for that.
Your
deductible.
Deductible.
It's going to go up big time. We're going to have to pay 520,
right?
euros.
First they said 480, but then they said 520.
So I understand it's more of a let's say an issue you have to tackle nationally.
That's true.
Maybe they're like, do you? So actually we have a question in the chat. Is the party only involved locally or also national? So that was my next question. So is there plans to also eventually implement something on a national level? Because I think right now you're only running for Amsterdam elections, right?
So our motto is de straat in de raad. So we want to be the voice of organizations, underground organizations, to make sure that voices are heard in the municipality. This means that we are focusing on getting a very strong base, very strong ground base, because we want to be a bottom-up, organized party, and not even a party. I would rather say a movement. So that means that we are really doing that very carefully before we take next steps on going nationally.
Amazing. Sorry, I think maybe we need to close the door. If you don't mind.
There's children running around.
Speaking of education. Amazing. I think there's a class going on. Sorry, my bad. Thank you, Niels. I do want to ask you a few more things before you go. So I'm very happy with the overall proposal, and I think it makes sense what you're saying, that these are issues that we're all struggling with, and it was good for you to also tell your own personal story. And now we went to national level, so maybe we can go even broader. Because we talked a lot about capitalism, but not so much the colonial part. there is a lot of scapegoating now on a national level of immigrants, for example. There's also, at the same time, us causing a lot of the necessity for refugees, as in bombing other countries.
Yeah.
So how do you see this dynamic going in Europe? And the last cherry on top is that then they use the refugees that they cause and the hatred towards them to justify creating sort of these ICE Gestapo-like military, or not military, sorry, but contractors. So what are we going to do about this whole dynamic that just keeps getting worse and worse?
Yeah. So I mean, capitalism in crisis is causing fascism, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the moment that they don't have other options to delude the people that have to vote for them, they're gonna go to divide and rule.
Yeah.
So they're gonna try to put up the working class against each other by by scapegoating immigrants.
Yeah.
And on a municipal level, I think we make it very clear that we believe that the housing crisis is not caused by immigrants, but by failure of neoliberal policies.
Yeah.
I think that's a story we have to keep telling to everybody. And most people know this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I also want to say with building communities.
Mm-hmm.
Most people know this, but on a surface level, and by building communities, we make this more political.
Right. And on the communities part, I'm very worried. Oh
no, not Palestinian flag. No.
Sorry, I'll put that up in a second. But I do want to ask you. I'm very worried about this ICE Gestapo force approach, going door to door and arresting neighbors, right?
Yeah.
Putting them in what I would call concentration camps, or very similar. At least we're getting there.
Yeah.
Is that something you see happening in Europe? I know people on the left are starting to fear it. And what would you do to protect our community from that? And while you answer, I'm gonna do this in the background. Sorry.
Well, I mean, we know there's a very there's an organization with a lot of money in Europe as well, and it's Frontex, and they do similar things as ICE already, stopping boats, drowning refugees in the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
So this is already crazy, and we don't know if they're going to do similar things as you said, like they do in the US.
Yeah.
But that could very well be the case. Yeah.
There's like two legal developments, I guess, that would directly lead to this as a possibility. I think, at least, is that they're trying to make it possible to deport people who broke the law, and then they're trying to make it illegal to not have papers.
Yeah,
and
that's what in the Netherlands is going on.
That's what we have here. And if these things combine, then there is the possibility of doing this.
Yeah.
But Amsterdam as a city already declared, that they're not gonna abide by this law of chasing people that have no papers.
Exactly.
So this is similar to like the sanctuary cities in the
that's literally in our that's literally what the VONK wants to do. We want to make Amsterdam a sanctuary city. So even if national policies are going this way, then we can make sure that we are keeping refugees safe, making sure they can live, work.
Amazing. I have only one question left, which is on the Gaza genocide and the whole, well, now it's even more regional than that. You see Lebanon is getting carpet bombed. You see now the war in Iran. What are your views on that, and how can we do something locally here in Amsterdam?
So, I mean, I think for the genocide, what happened for a lot of people here in the Netherlands is they came across the fact that there's no superior morality in the Western world. We don't have moral superiority because we will, like, for our example, you have the school bombed in Iran with the children. What do you hear from the Dutch government?
Nothing.
Nothing. No. So I hope that more and more people are going to see how they don't care about these children. Our government doesn't care about these children. Our government only cares about their imperial needs.
Yeah.
And I hope that's getting more and more clear by talking about it with people.
I mean, our minister, it's a translation, obviously, but he said something that's close to, well, international law is just one frame of thinking or one frame of approaching the problem. Really, like, got me thinking, like, if I stab someone in the street now and I end up in front of the judge and I say, well, the Dutch law is just one frame of thinking, like, do I get away with it? Obviously not.
We're all starting to realize more and more that international law is being there to have countries that are not in NATO, to have countries from the global south to penalize them. And if we do it, then that's somehow okay, because we have very important financial interests. So
can we kick complicit companies out of Amsterdam?
We should. We should.
I'll give you a call when you win. And
I believe Palantir is located at the Roquin with some office. Someone told me.
Sorry?
Palantir is located on the Roquin.
Well, let's do an action.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been blocking these coal trains from the story I told you earlier.
Yeah.
Let's now also do actions with these kind of complicit companies for the genocide.
And Booking has been targeted quite a lot over the past 2 years.
Yes, exactly. And
unfortunately, they're still here.
We should say, as a city, Booking is not welcome here.
Yeah.
I endorse that. There's a few questions in the chat that I just want to cover before I let you go. Ness is asking about healthcare, but we just covered it already, and that needs to be from a national level. I don't know if you want to add anything else on healthcare.
I would read our program. I would definitely read our program.
Okay, and you can find that on devonk.nl, I imagine?
I
think devonk.org.
.org. Yeah, perfect. And one more question from Elias that has been here throughout the whole interview. He's asking, because he lives in Germany, if this is also inspired by some of the other leftist movements we're seeing. For example, he mentioned Mera 25, and I think there's the DM 21 that are, or DM 25, Mera 25, that are quite strong in Germany. So, is this also, do you have any allies, let's say, in European politics outside of Amsterdam?
No. And the reason for that is the reason I just told you. We want to have a very strong base in Amsterdam. But there are so many similarities between our party and DM 21 or Mare 25. I mean, I've been to those meetings also. And I mean, they're so similar. I think we're both doing the same work. We're just doing it bottom up, and I think they're doing it top down. I think both are valuable in their own respect.
Fantastic. Do you have time for one more? Because this one is actually very interesting. And they're coming in. How much power does the municipality have over the whole Microsoft data center being built? Oh, that's a very good question. Because our municipality decided that these data centers aren't allowed to be built in our city anymore. I was following that.
And then now this one is being built because they say, these we already made that agreement. And I don't know, man.
So they made the agreement before the plan. I hope you're able to tackle that as well, because I heard that our energy prices are gonna soar in Amsterdam because of the amount of electricity that these data centers use, right?
They use a shit ton amount of energy. And owned by Microsoft. So I mean, for who is the city, right?
I think that should be the ending line there. For who is the city? Is it for us in Amsterdam? Or is it for the capitalist owning class internationally? Fantastic. Thank you so much, Niels, for joining us.
Thank you.
Go out and vote March 18th. It's coming up very soon. And thank you for joining. Feel free to stick around in the back if you want for a bit, or if you need to go about your day, that's up to you. We're going to keep talking with Pete, who's coming on for
after you finish the sandwich.
so
Thank you so much, guys.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Let's give a little way out there.
Nice instabil.
All right, if you're joining live, stay. Thank you guys in the chat for asking questions. That always makes this a lot more enjoyable. We have one more guest. It's the first time ever we have 2 guests on one show. So join us here, Pete. Mid bite, I see.
A thick bite.
Oh, wait. I have one thing.
Yeah. Go on.
I brought goodies, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I brought goodies.
I hope it's merchandise because I saw that on your story the other day.
Merchandise.
Yeah.
You make it sound so.
Ooh, no, but he's doing good stuff.
No, I got goodies. I got data.
Okay. He brought the receipts, as the girly pops say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move these cables a tiny bit.
Nice.
I look beautiful. And so do you.
Good.
We can zoom in and
He
just.
looks like a doctor, but you're the doctor, right?
Yeah.
He's a doctor in toxicology.
I'm off work right now.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Off-duty neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that it?
No, not the research, obviously, but
I don't know. You're a brain doctor, no?
I'm more the psychiatry side.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do it all.
Sick.
I'm a
Mental health
generalist.
is incredibly important, but also so difficult here in the Netherlands.
To get psychiatric care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got mine.
You'd finally
Despite
did.
the story. I finally did, and I'm just gonna. Just one little comment, just to offshoot.
Mm-hmm.
I got it, and they took it away.
They took it away immediately.
I got it, and they took it away immediately.
How are you doing?
I'm doing alright. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Are you ready to start? Should we jump into it?
Yeah,
I'm
of
gonna
course.
Give you a little intro.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you brought receipts. It's the first
Oh,
time
brother.
we have like physical documents. On. I feel like Alex Jones.
Yeah, I got the.
They are cloning the frogs again.
They are. I bought the frogs, and I bought the other frogs.
You're gonna
watch
open
them
it.
fuck.
It's just gonna be a bunch of doodles.
Yeah. It's just where normally mommy froggy goes, but post whatever
Whatever
is turning
happened.
them. Is now it's male to male.
Right.
Oh hey, I don't know if they is that what frogs call themselves?
I haven't asked them, but we could get an interview, I guess.
Is that the only frame of thinking that we have?
All right, I'm gonna start the recording here, and then we'll get into it. Maybe for the live people joining us live, Amsterdam, March 19th, was it?
March 19th at Radion
Yes.
from 7 p.m. to 3 in the morning.
You're gonna be hosting a fundraiser to cover all of the costs that the IND kept throwing your way, plus the healthcare costs, I imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, let me start recording here, and I'll introduce you properly.
absolutely.
No, okay, I'm out of space, but it's fine. I'll get it from the stream. So we're just gonna pretend like I hit record.
Hit record, baby.
So, no, it's okay. Yeah, boom. If you live in the Netherlands, you've probably laughed about how difficult it is to get your doctor to take you seriously. You know the usual response from the Dutch doctor being just take a paracetamol and go home. However, this joke can turn deadly when you actually need urgent care. Stories of people being denied life-saving care or having to beg on hospital floors until they finally get treatment are far too common. Joining me now, we have an old friend of mine, Pete Gomes.
As they say in Brazil.
Yeah.
Gomes.
Otherwise known as the CEO of Money.
Cha-ching.
Pete recently went through 2 hernias in his lower spine and has been struggling to get much needed surgery. All of that while being threatened to with deportation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's quite an intense story.
All at the same time.
Yeah, I think let's start on the healthcare side because that's
Oops, all problems.
because I think that's the part that people really can relate to, right? So can you just tell me what is actually wrong with your back and how did you realize that something went wrong?
According to the doctors, nothing. They
Uh-huh.
retracted their diagnosis. In my last consult with the not the surgeon, but the
Neurologist?
the neurology department, they retracted their diagnosis of 2 hernias in my L4 and L5. So one of them was a proper hernia, and one of them was just like a really, really about to pop bulge. And those 2 caused some major damage once I. So a hernia, to explain, it is caused by several things. It can be a
You're doing my
transitional
job, but
progress.
go
It's
ahead. You're doing great.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
He said you're doing his job, but
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So, do you want to explain?
No. Go ahead.
So a hernia is caused by a long-term like impacts or compressions of the spine.
Mhm.
But then there can also be very sudden moments that cause the hernia to burst. And what a herniated disc is that there's a little disc inside of your spine between two vertebrae, and it's like a little gel packet, and it's surrounded by like a more solid flesh, and inside there's gel. And then once that pops, the gel leaks out, and it can press onto your nerves.
Right, because the nerves, I think, leak with it, right? Or comes out?
No,
Yeah, they come out of the spine, like it's a
Right.
big cable kind of gutter thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all comes from the
With
brain
holes.
down the spine, and then they're all intertwined there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I saw the thing so many times. They explained it to me so many times, but that was the
So-
only thing they ever explained to me.
Amazing. So, well, not amazing, but that's what a hernia is. And then when did you realize that you have suffered from hernia, or like when did you feel the pop? Let's say.
Yeah, so I worked as a manager for a nightclub for 3 years. Well, as a manager I did 1.5 years, but I worked at a nightclub for 3 years, and then also another 1.5 years before that at a different club. So I was already lifting boxes, very very heavy boxes, for a very long time during the nights, for 12 hours at a time sometimes. And I started getting back. I've always kind of had a weak lower back, but I wasn't. Now that I have hindsight, I can tell that was because of like not so much support around the spine and the gluteal muscles that you're supposed to have in order to support that. And I guess I just wasn't using that, and I was lifting incorrectly and stuff. And then after one of the parties that I was bartending at, actually, it was it's a bar that's very narrow, and like there's runners and they come and they fill the fridges and stuff. And so when there's a runner behind you, and then there's like 15 people in front of you, and you have just about like maybe a meter of space to play with, you're kind of doing like these weird movements for like 14 hours at a time. That was a long party. So after that party, I came home with such bad lower back pain that it was like almost crippling.
Yeah, can you explain a little bit for the people at home? What does it feel like to have a hernia? What is, like, how intense is the pain?
There's two things, because it gets worse. The moment that I knew that I had it is different than the moment that I was feeling it for the first time, because there's like the dull aching pain of just the regular back pain that's caused by the hernia.
Yeah.
And before it pops, there's a different type of pain. It's like a dull, aching, pressing pain, and it's just constant, and it's all consuming. Your brain is kind of just, oh my God, I'm dealing with this pain, and you can't think of anything else. But then when it bursts, and if it bursts in the correct position, it squeezes the nerve, and it does nerve compression, and that can be semi-permanent to permanent damage. And that's what happened to me. I stretched to relieve what I thought I had been diagnosed with as lumbosacral radicular syndrome. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
No, now.
I won't.
Okay, nice. Politely declined. And the frogs, will they do it? Attentive ears. The moment I stretched with this thing, I brought my leg kind of in like wait, it's confusing because it's backwards. So the leg is like this, knee, okay, foot's facing that way. I brought my leg like this, and then I brought it up towards me. I can't really do it now. You can't see my legs. But then that moment, I felt like an electric shock in my back. And it was almost like I got shot. Like I never experienced that type of pain. And it's like, then it's the only thing you know. Like you forget language, you forget like how to communicate. My girl's like, what's going on? What's going on? I was like, oh my God. And then I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
Right.
It's like it's the most painful thing you can ever feel, I think.
Yeah, the thing that most people maybe can relate to it a little bit is when they go to the dentist and they touch a nerve for a little while, then you know how intense this kind of pain is when the nerve gets hit or compressed.
Yeah,
it's like it goes through your entire like
and the
soul.
reason is that it's you're literally messing with the nerve itself, which is responsible for feeling. Right.
Yeah.
So
so from a hernia, you actually get something that it's what are they called? The lumbosacral, the radicular syndrome is also known as the pain that people get here.
the sign.
There's like a more popular sciatic nerve, sciatica. So people call it sciatica in English.
Yeah.
And then in doctor they call it. In Dutch is what?
Yeah, ischias. They sometimes call it, but it's actually, ischias here is more a term for where it is not really on the nerve, the compression, but it's just lower back pain with some radiation to the gluteal part. But yeah,
mine went past the glutes, down the leg on the back here, and down into my
all the
my
way
foot,
to the
all the way down, and the nerve kind of wraps in a weird way. It goes like from the lower back and then into your thigh in the back, and then it goes on the outer leg on the right side on my calf, and then it goes back into the foot onto my toe. So that entire thing
it goes all the way.
That entire thing it's paralyzed now.
Yeah, so
It was paralyzed, then I couldn't lift my leg.
So you still have troubles lifting your leg. I mean, we met 2 days ago, and I saw you walking towards me, and I'm used to you. I mean, I think people can tell you're very energetic, you're very out there. But when I saw you walking towards me, I mean, I didn't say it, but I did for a moment be like, it's painful to see my friend struggling to walk a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's because now still that nerve is damaged.
It's I can barely really lift my leg. That's about as far as it goes. But you have 3 main sort of muscle groups that you can do it. So I can lift my leg when I go inward.
When you go to,
or outward. But directly up, I can't really lift.
And for the people at home, he lifted his foot for, I would say, 2-3 centimeters maximum.
Yeah, that's with the full. If I'm standing up, I really can't do it because then I got the full weight of everything.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be forward, right? Like here, I'm kind of lifting it up with the aid of different muscles. But as you walk, that's a different muscle. And it's super bad. And then on my hip here, like it's numb. Like I don't feel it. On the outside here, numb. I don't feel it. Inside of my foot, there's like paralyzation also. And I knew it. Like it happened immediately.
Yeah.
I couldn't lift my foot anymore.
Yeah. And at what point then do you start to realize that the doctors are not going to help you with all of this excruciating pain going on?
I think it was it was the 3rd time I went there. So I went to the neurology department at the OVG Oost, and I will call you out because, oh my God, it's inhumane. I've never seen this before. This kind of treatment. I grew up in Brazil. All right. Think about Brazil in your mind, about the public services that are available. I had far better care in Brazil than I ever did here.
Which I can say, by the way, also, I know from my Bolivian family, we go back to Bolivia whenever we need real medical care. Because even in Denmark, where it's free, sometimes the doctors are very incompetent. Well, I don't want to call them incompetent because I don't think they are.
No, they're just held
hostage by the system.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into later on.
Yeah.
But so then, how was that experience there in Oost?
The first 2 times it was all right because like I went to the emergency room and the lady there was super nice. She did incredible. Like she made me feel okay. Like the whole entire procedure she did like of testing, she was really like super conscious of my experience and my pain and my suffering and all this. And then I thought, oh my God, okay, nice, I'm taken care of.
That's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Then they sent me home and they were like, okay, we're gonna schedule an MRI. MRI happens without any doctor supervision, so you go in there. But then I think the 2nd or 3rd visit that I went to the actual neurologist, I got there and it was just some different lady that I never saw before, and she's like, she sees me at the waiting room, like, huh? And then I'm like, oh my God, no, already.
Yeah,
and then
you get that stare.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
and then we go.
What's the stare?
The guy being like, what's the stare?
Is this my white privilege talking? Yeah. Okay.
They're like, someone just disapproves of your overall existence. You know?
Okay.
Like, I have to deal. Like, I can't believe that I'm being forced to deal with you, right?
But it gets even better, bro.
Yeah.
I walk into their office and she's like, I have no clue who you are or why you're in my office. I'm not your doctor, and I don't know why you're here. And I was like, oh wow, this is, you know how long it took me to get this thing? It was like 4 weeks. I've been living now with this still.
But you did have an appointment with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But you go in.
I was bounced between like 3 or 4 doctors in the beginning. So it was like the emergency room person, then there was the neurologist. Then there was a different neurologist. This one she had no idea because optimally you were being seen by the same neurologist. You know?
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And she was like, I have no idea why you're here. I was like, well, me neither. Tell me, please.
Yeah.
What is going on? What's going to happen? What do I have?
Yeah.
And they had yet to diagnose me by then.
And her response?
We're just going to look at the MRI when it comes in. And Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's it. She stonewalled me for the rest of the consult. It was like 10 minutes. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. Can you answer some questions? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay.
If you feel like you really need to.
yeah. Let me see. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? Like, what movements are safe? And she's like, well, you just walk as regular. You can walk as normal. I was like, as normal? I can't walk as normal. I can't. That's a whole problem.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, just don't lift anything. I'm like, okay, but what if I walk like this? Is this going to damage the rest of my back and stuff? What if I walk like this? And she's like, nah, I'm okay with that.
Oh,
just like responsive, right? It's responsive.
No, I know exactly what you mean, right? So you're there and you're like, hey, I have this issue. What should I do about, like, is it serious? And they're like, no. Like it's literally like,
no.
And then you slowly like start to get a little bit of information out of them. Then all of a sudden you realize, wait, this is serious. So then you're like, okay, but then I should definitely avoid that, right? And they're like, yeah, I would avoid it. And that's so Mr. Doctor, why does it work that way? Why already at this stage?
What part?
Is it so hard to get like a doctor to just look at you and give you advice on what to do about your health next?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different things that come with it, right? And like you said, you were actually judged from the moment you walk in the door. At least that's what you felt. And I would say, yeah, it's likely probably, because if I look around at what I saw in healthcare, then it's so common to just judge every patient based on the way they present, their personality, and just be like, this one is annoying, they are exaggerating. And it's a lot easier they do it a lot, we do it a lot faster when it's someone that's not from this country.
Right.
So you have the general stereotype that people who are Latino or like Southern European or anything that's not Anglo-Saxon, West European, that they exaggerate their pain, right? They exaggerate their complaints.
That's the key. I always feel like,
where do you get taught this? I've been thinking about it. So like, where does it start? Is it in the school? Is it in medical school? Is it before that?
No, it's before that, because it's the whole cultural upbringing.
Yeah,
we deal with the pain differently a little bit, right? Than most cultures. But then the problem is that it gets linked to this supremacy. It's like our way of dealing with it is better than other ways.
Yeah,
and there's just no understanding that. Because what I hear from your story, the person in the emergency room, they didn't do anything to cure you or to fix your problem, but at least you felt like they were trying to help you.
Yeah.
And what a lot of doctors seem to forget is that this is like one of the most important elements for patients, no matter what you're going to do after. Even if you're going to give them bad news after, even if you don't have a treatment for them, if you can get this part right, that you acknowledge the person, acknowledge their complaints, see that what they are dealing with is causing a problem for them, then at least people feel like you are trying to take care of them. And this part gets left behind a lot.
Yeah, and just to say, like, I think the key point is whenever I walk into the situations, or what I hear from my friends as well, is you feel like the doctor assumes that you're trying to scam them.
Yeah.
That you're trying to commit fraud.
Yeah.
That whatever you're saying, you're just there to waste their time. That you don't really have an issue. You just woke up and did all this paperwork and showed up in front of them to waste their time.
This does stem also a lot from the guideline thinking. So the guidelines, they are there. They aren't set in stone. I mean, you can deviate from the guidelines all you want, but and especially hernia and lower back pain is kind of notorious for this, because the assumption, which is based on statistics, is that young people don't get it so often, right? And there's a typical presentation. You actually had a quite typical presentation where it reaches to your toes. So one of the clinical determinants is, does the pain reach below the knee? And if it's below the knee, the chances of it being a herniated disc are actually a lot higher.
Right.
But then when people show up who don't fit the typical pattern, or who don't fit the typical patient group, then you are almost outright dismissed, and the barrier to get treatment or like an MRI gets higher.
Okay, so
you know what? I just want to make one thing too, is that like in those first couple of visits, I made the mistake of asking a little bit too many implicative questions. I was like, could it be perhaps that my brain is, because at that point I was still feeling a lot of the pain, right? So we didn't know if when the pain subsided that my nerve was still going to be paralyzed. And I was like, could it be possible that my brain is just kind of keeping me from doing something so painful that it keeps me from lifting it? Because at that point I was like, I can kind of, I can feel it kind of going. And then they took this statement as like, I'm not lifting my leg because of the pain. And then they ran with this to the end for months, bro. They did MRIs, they did all the scans, they did all the, but they're like, but you can't lift your head because of the pain, like, right? And it's like, I said that in my first consult.
And you didn't.
There's like a real term for this. Like if your function is impaired, like you are paralyzed, right? And the other one is you are impaired because of the pain. There's a term for it, and actually it is used a lot to dismiss symptoms as being not explained by a regular diagnosis, but being more unexplained medical problems or pains. So this is actually quite a common term to be used, that that you are not functionally impaired, but you are impaired because of pain. And it's something different.
But they kept doing a test, and they knew that I was impaired. They saw it. They were like, yeah, no, this muscle group is completely paralyzed, because I was like laying there, bro. And oh my God, it's so fucking.
But this got written down at some point, and then they carry it to the file
until
the
end.
But it's so weird, because like I made so many other questions, but that's the one that they kept going with, and I was like, oh my God, I fucked myself in the beginning.
But I want to highlight the checklist that you're saying, that you need to fit this and that symptom, be in this and that age group in order to get the treatment. And if you don't fulfill these criteria, you're not going to get treatment. We're going to get into why that happened in a second, but I want you, because I know that you fit all the criteria except for one at some point, and I want you to explain that story as well.
So the criteria for this is like, it's like, can you lift your foot? Does it hurt? Does it hurt in the leg? Does it hurt in the back? Do you have trouble holding your pee, or do you have trouble peeing? And also, there was a few more, but I ticked almost every single one, and including like numbness of the groin, numbness of like my butt cheeks. This is not a glorious, and it's not a like fantastical thing, okay? It happened around my jiggly bits. And
I love asking the question too when I have to.
That's
no, because it's always hard to explain.
So there's like this numbness, and then it was also like, it was hard for me to push my pee out at some point, so I couldn't push pee. I was not pushing pee. I was really not pushing pee. Sorry,
no, I understood.
Okay.
Pushing pee. The T go on.
Pushing Pete.
Were you able to still keep your shit inside?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So I could hold it in, and I was not pissing myself. So I was not shitting myself or pissing myself, to be as crude as it, because I'm trying to the shock factor of a person who is in the most immediate pain that you could possibly have, and then have a doctor come in and is like, you tick all the boxes, but are you shitting yourself? Are you pooping your pants? Are you perhaps pissing your pants right now? And I was like, no. And then because I don't even know where to start with this. It's so fucking crazy. They started asking me this, and it started getting worse, and so then I started ticking more boxes. And then at some point in my mind, I was like, fuck it, man, I'm pissing myself. And then you know what they do? They fucking took a goddamn ultrasound of my bladder to see if I had piss inside. And they're like, you're lying.
Really?
Yeah. And the lady doing the ultrasound said, but this guy, what is he talking about? He can hold his piss in. I'm like, oh my God, bro.
Yeah, because at some point you have to start faking symptoms in order to get
only that
treatment.
And you know what, bro, like, it's so, because I want to talk to you a little bit before we skip over this, is the examination can be so humiliating, man. They make me take my pants off and then walk on my heels completely butt naked and then if you get something called a clap foot, where your heel, it cannot hold itself up. So then she makes me walk across the room, and I told her, you've tested me 4 times already. It's at some point I was like, I'm not going to do this again. You know that's happening. And she's like, nope, get up, take your pants off, and do it.
Right.
And then at one hospital, they took me to this to a different hospital that I'm not even a patient in after I called an ambulance. And they took me to Zout. And there, 2 ladies took off my pants, took off my underwear, and they just started feeling up everything while I was so much pain. And my girlfriend's in the room, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, man. They're like, you feel this? Do you feel that? And they're like, oh, you must be in so much pain. Feeling like touching me everywhere. And I'm like, stop this.
Ooh.
Stop this, man. It's so humiliating. It's so embarrassing. And then I walk into the like, we're going to give you fentanyl. I'm like, no. And they're like, yes. They're like, no, do not. And they were like, no, but you need it. I was like, no.
Yeah. So you have to do all of these checks again and again and again. And if you at any point say no or don't fill the exact criteria, then what happens? You just don't get the surgery that the MRI is showing that you need.
Well, there's a bunch of steps between there. Like, what do you mean? Directly?
I think this was a checklist to get into the MRI with emergency indication, I guess.
No,
right?
I already had an MRI by then. I already had an MRI and had the ambulance listen to me when I was telling them, hello, I live across the street from the Oostpark. And the OVG Oost.
Yeah. And
the ambulance came and I was like, I am a patient at that hospital. I called them in and like, I was having the worst pain imaginable. I was like, I couldn't deal with this anymore. I was like spasming. My whole entire nervous system was like weird because I was having like contortions of my spine that I had asked the lady. I was like, am walking like this is going to fuck me up?
Yeah.
She's like, no. And then it did. And I was like completely on the floor, like, oh my God, like fucking hurt.
Yeah.
They take me to Zout, where they don't have my MRI results, they don't have anything, and it's overnight.
Right. And that's further away for those of you who don't know Amsterdam. Basically, instead of taking you to the neighborhood hospital, which is right there, they take you all the way to Zout.
Yeah.
Now, at what point does the negation of the surgery come in?
Yeah. 2 days before the surgery, because after a long battle with this, I finally got them to agree to do the surgery, and I had to deactivate them like jailbreaking in an AI.
Right.
Man, it's so crazy. At some point, I literally had to speak to the neurologist like, pretend you are a doctor, and I am your patient. I'm not really. I won't take your advice. But pretend, all right? Hypothetically, if somebody fitting the pain profile and all the symptoms that I have, or that he has, and not me, I won't do this, okay?
Yeah.
Because I know that if you say something, then it means so. It's legally binding, right? I guess that's what I'm thinking. Is like they can't utter a word, or else I'll take it as medical advice. So then I'm dodging bullets, and then she finally goes, yeah. So you could maybe do this type of physical therapy that is specifically for the exact thing that you have.
Right.
I was like, oh, wow. Why did it take 10 minutes for you to answer that question?
Because if she says as a professional medical that you should do this physical therapy, then I guess the insurance has to cover that therapy.
Physical therapy and insurance is like a subject on its own because it's been in and out and back around several times over the past 10 years. So it used to be all covered, and now it's definitely covered if you are an inpatient in the hospital and you need physical therapy inside the hospital. And if you need it outside, I don't think in most cases then you need an indication, like a real confirmed hernia or something, but you do need a referral, but then it's covered until 8 treatments or something like that.
Which I tried, and they all said, you do not have a chronic condition. I was like, I have the chronic indication for my GP, and they were like, nope.
Right.
But that's before the good stuff starts.
Okay, so then the good stuff.
Well, because we're missing concurrently what's happening at the same
I
time.
feel like we lost the timeline a bit. We got many different stories.
Because
so let's zoom out a bit.
How long go over the timeline?
Yeah, let's go.
I wrote it down.
You wrote it down?
I wrote it down so that we can be very clear about this, because it's very confusing. It is.
Yeah, because you're in and out of all these different agencies, getting traumatized here, traumatized there. Nobody wants to believe that you're actually in pain, that if you don't piss yourself, then you don't actually have this hernia. And then you get the MRI, but the MRI shows one thing, and then they retract that.
So let's get to the end of that story before I even go back and retell the story with the spin factor, okay? So I finally called the surgeon. I was like, oh my god, finally. I call him on the phone, never meet with him in person. This guy's about to open up my spine, and he calls me on the telephone. And then oh my god, this another thing about being a foreigner here is that my phone that I had just newly purchased before I moved here is locked, is region locked.
Right, to the US.
With an eSIM. It's digitally locked. Make sense of that. And then I couldn't get a Dutch number. And so I had to put my girlfriend's number in there for my emergency contact.
Yeah.
And then I had a different friend at some point for the emergency contact, but they have my phone and they can call my phone. They can because they've done it before. But then some of the ladies just don't want to call me on that phone.
Because it's not a Dutch number.
Because it's not a Dutch number. And then they avoid calling the number I have on there as my number, which they can call.
Yeah.
They call my girlfriend. They call this other friend. They don't answer. And then they reschedule my consults for like 2 months later because it's so busy. And so then if I can't pick up the phone, which they don't call.
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend who's at work can't pick up the phone because it's not their fucking business.
Yeah.
Then I am out of a consult. So then finally I get the call with this guy, which took a while. And then he was like, okay, well, it looks like you kind of want the surgery, right? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, have you considered that this is, quite the invasive surgery? I was like, yes. He's like, well, have you considered all the other options that there are? I was like, yes, I've considered them, and no, I don't want them. He's like, okay, but are you really, 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 really super duper cherry on top sure? He didn't say that, but implied it.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll put it in. It felt like that, And then finally he does it.
Yeah.
And because during that entire period, my girlfriend is so livid with these people that they want to rush the thing because the surgery is in another like 2.5 months. And my girlfriend's like, just rush it. She's calling the hospital all day long. They're calling the hospital all day long. So they were like, you know what? Fine, we'll give you an MRI in between where I had already been diagnosed and my surgery. And then 2 weeks before my surgery, I go for a second MRI. And they take advantage of that second MRI. And they look at that and they say, oh, I get a call 2 days before my surgery.
It's healing by itself.
Yeah, they're like, actually, it seems like there is no significant compression of your nerve. It might be Lyme disease. We think it's Lyme disease, and I was like, "You are
wait,
what?
Without any testing for Lyme disease?"
Yeah, bro. Yes, I am. I was literally like crying the moment before she called. Also because I was like I was like, "Oh my god, finally, I'm having my surgery!" Oh my god, and I was like laying in bed, holding a pillow on the floor.
You have pain throughout all of this, no? So then,
and I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor because my bed hurts. So I'm like humiliated. I'm on the floor, hugging a pillow, stuttering in pain, and going like, "Oh my god, finally." Then I get this call, and this lady's like, yeah, we're going to cancel your surgery because you have Lyme disease. Fucking Lyme disease. You know what Lyme disease is, guys?
Yeah,
huh?
I do.
You get bit by a fucking tick.
Yeah.
You have Lyme disease.
Yeah, which also causes a nerve issue, but very different, right?
Yeah, but I never got bit by a tick and then didn't even ask.
Yeah. So then 2 days, I just find it like I need people to put themselves in your shoes, right? So you have this constant pain in your back. You just want the doctor to do something about it. And now you did all of the bureaucracy, all of the humiliating rituals almost, and managed to convince them that just because you have an American accent, you're not lying about your symptoms and your pain. And 2 days before, they take advantage of the extra MRI they made you do so that you didn't have to wait 2 months for the surgery. 2 days before the surgery, they call you and they say, listen, you're not going to get this surgery because we think it might be something completely different.
Yeah.
Even after all of the testing that we've done.
Yeah.
So have you had your surgery?
No.
And what does it look like they're going to give you a surgery?
No. Because after this call, I went and they sent me to the OVG West. They know I can't walk. They sent me across town, even though I have OVG Oost across the street.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They made me go all the way there.
Oost means east.
Yeah.
West means west. So
I'll do it in English. But they take me all the way to the west of the city. Okay, and it costs. I cannot take the metro because they've turned up all of my streets, so I can't easily even get to the metro. So now I'm paying 40 euros there, 40 euros in return. I get to the hospital in West for my last consult with the neurologist. 8 minutes late, I am in the queue. 8 minutes later, I'm staring at the receptionist in the face, in the eyeballs. And then takes 2 minutes to attend the doctor in front of the patient in front of me. He goes out of line. I go up. It is 10 minutes. And because of the 10-minute rule, I am technically late. So she stares at me in the face after I literally ran down the hallway, dragging my leg behind me. Like dragging it because I can't do it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. And so I get there. I'm panting. She's like, you're late. I'm going to call the doctor to see if she has time to see you. And you know where the doctor was? In the fucking room next to her. Like just, I'm going to call the doctor. And she's like, And I was like, I'm here. And she's like, don't give me attitude. I was like, you have no idea what I have been through to get here. Just give me the consult. Just like, let me sit there and then go into that room where I know the doctor is.
Yeah.
She's like, the doctor will see you now.
Okay, but at least you got to see the fucking doctor at that point.
Yeah.
And
she makes you take my pants off, do the whole ritual again, and then stonewalls me, tells me, we are retracting your diagnosis and we are no longer going to see you anymore because this is no longer a neurology department issue. We're going to send you to the pijnpolie, which is the pain clinic inside the hospital. And the pain clinic does not treat the condition. It just treats symptoms. So they want me to have a fucking spine, the epidural, which hurts like a bitch.
So at the end of all of this, no treatment given.
No, nothing happened. Like nothing happened.
Just they want you to pay for medication, pain medication.
Yeah, oxys.
For the rest of your life. How long does this last?
Well, the whole time that they kept feeding me oxys and opioids, and that's all they would do.
Yeah, but now, like...
No, I just declined it, and I don't want it. Now the pain is, like, temporary, where, like, if it's things I do, certain things I do, it's hurting. I have, like, a constant aching pain in my back, but I can do things now. I can at least walk, but I cannot lift a certain amount of weight, and I haven't even tested. I don't know how much, because they won't see me.
Right.
So they never tell me what's wrong. So all of that, nothing happened. No treatment at all. There was no treatment. They didn't touch me. They didn't prescribe anything.
And how much did you have to pay for all of that together?
Why? Hang on. Let's talk about why I had to pay.
Yeah, also, go on.
Yeah. Well, I was getting deported. Sorry, I get a little bit emotional.
No, I understand. You have the right to be angry. I would be losing my mind. Yeah.
I did hear recently a story about some young guy who was a refugee here, and he also had a surgery planned, but then the IND declined his application like a week or something before the surgery, and then they canceled the surgery, which is crazy because either you have a medical indication for the surgery, which means you need it, which means you have a right to it.
Human right.
Or you don't have a medical indication, in which case you don't have a planned surgery. But canceling a surgery because of a decision by IND, it's like in how do you say it?
It should be illegal, right?
Yeah,
and I think under Dutch
in a way
law,
it is, right? It's unequal treatment. It's the access to care that's being blocked on the basis of
immigration status.
Yeah.
So this usually at least would somewhat be covered by the Dutch private healthcare insurance.
All of it would have been, yeah.
You still have out of pocket, right? To a certain
yeah, which would have been like 385.
385, okay. Which, by the way, now they want to raise to 500. But yeah, you would have had to pay the first 300 yourself, but the rest would have been covered, despite how terrible it was. But because of this issue with the IND, so the immigration office, none of it was covered?
Yeah, this is a tricky story. So it's hard to say none or all. It's absolutes don't work here.
Okay.
So now let me give you the full timeline because it gets really confusing.
Yeah, let's
and I had to write it down with my girlfriend just before I came here. So December of 2024, right before Christmas, like 2 days before Christmas, I got a letter saying that I was going to be deported because fast backward, I guess. I came here to the Netherlands with a different partner. And I was in a partner visa. That's a 5-year visa. And the conditions are that you live with that partner and that they have enough money. And after juggling family money around and putting like standing, because there's this, which is also relevant, the EU court rulings, which are very relevant to all of my cases. I won my first, okay, so the Netherlands has an immigration department and they have their own set of rules. But it's part of the EU, and the EU also has an immigration court, and those rulings are just as important than the IND ones, but the IND ones come first, and then you can appeal with an EU court.
Right.
So the first time I appealed it was based on a case that says that if you have the amount that we ask for monthly all in together, so instead of you doing 5 years of 2,200 a month, and you add that up and it equals out to 100,000, you get to be here. And let me tell you, I do not have 100,000. Okay, that was all like money from my sponsor girlfriend's partner or parents that they moved into that account, and then they hold it, and then they are in charge of my life. And 6 months after, I spent personally all of my money after liquidating all of my objective assets, like all of my car, all of my belongings I sold because I left LA because it was during coronavirus. It was really bad. Came here. Then I had nothing. I had nothing but my money. I spent all of my money being here, to get here, to live here. $8,800. And then 6 months in, that partner breaks up with me, essentially leaves, moves to Amsterdam. I was still in Delft, taking care of their mother. They abandoned me there, and they called me. They're like, "Yeah, I signed out of the address."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, but you know that you can't do that. You know that you couldn't do that. You can't do that
Because then you're gonna be deported.
Because then I'm deported." And so they did that, and for no other reason. That's okay. So then that's fresh, right? In my mind, I just liquidated all the stuff that I had. I stayed here, and I tried to make a life for myself. And lo and behold, for some luck of the draw, the IND didn't get notified of this change. Because I think during Corona, and there were also, the IND has been shifting from a fax system to a digital system. So it's been a whole big movement in there.
So you managed to stay and slip through the cracks of the IND, basically.
Yeah, one could say. But then I'm also a law-abiding citizen. I'm not doing crazy shit. I work, I pay taxes, I built a life, I built a community. In fact,
which is, by the way, so you are, you're staring now at what the right wing would call an illegal immigrant. Let's say.
Yeah.
Right. So my first question is, how many dogs have you eaten? Right. Like
every single one of them that I see.
No, but like according
so delicious.
According
I'm in
to
the
Trend
de Aragua.
According to the right wing, these are
you
all,
have tattoos,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you get 1 point. At least.
No, I got many points. I'm in all of the Trend de Aragua.
You hunt and eat our pets. You are a violent criminal. You're part of a narco trafficking ring. And you don't pay any taxes and only steal millions and millions from the government, right? This is what the right wing would assume. In reality, you are here. When you need healthcare, you can't get it. You pay taxes, you go to work, and you do everything normally like everyone else. It's just that you happen to come legally and then
got broken up with, and therefore your status got invalidated. Yeah.
Right. So that's the human aspect of this, and this reflects on far greater proportion of immigrants that we have here than the fucking Trendaragua violent cat eating whatever Somalis that they always like to stereotype.
Yeah, which country are they from this time?
Yeah.
The Trendaragua, it moves, right? It's like first it's a Somali, Venezuelan, yeah, now it's Somali. That gang is a transient one.
Depends on who we're invading next, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I'm all in all, though, a success story in this country, because before the IND was notified of my status, I had built a very, very, very nice life. And I'll tell you why this is relevant is because the IND makes the judgment that you are taking resources from legal citizens, all right? I live in my girlfriend's home that's owned by the family. I'm taking housing away from nobody. I have a community. I know the language. I speak Dutch. I am a revered part of the community. I literally built a community that's like, it was like 100 strong. It was via the platform, right? And I was platforming young and upcoming artists of the Netherlands, distributing wealth among the Netherlands.
Yeah, the platform, one of the best platforms, as the name suggests, for young artists in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
They've done incredible shows. I watched them go from a small organization coming out of... right beside Radian,
Club Atelier. ACTA, Club Atelier, that was our first one.
Yeah,
with Charlie.
ACTA into, having thousands of attendees, working with amazing brands and artists worldwide. So just to say, like, what you were contributing to society is valuable.
Brother, a Dutch artist who just recently won the Pop Ronde looked at me in the eye and said, "Piet, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have a career. Thank you."
Yeah, and I believe them because I've worked with these people.
Yeah.
Before I went into politics, I was trying to help them. So, yeah, that's also.
And I'm not trying to tout my own, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just trying to paint the picture that I'm not this
criminal,
this worthless
doing nothing,
guy,
not contributing. Yeah,
I'm not the Dutch citizens that are in the Oosterpark smoking crack because their government won't feed them. No, I come here and I feed your people. You know, I'm the government's daddy. I literally, the gemeente gave me 10,000 euros to distribute among my community as a financial incentive fund thing.
No, the platform has gotten many times funding from the Amsterdam gemeente.
We give money to your people.
Yeah, and you do amazing stuff with that. Yeah, and still, so you had this success story, but still you were not allowed to stay, according to the IND.
So then it comes in 2024. There's this thing called the inburgering process, which is like the test for you to become Dutch, like integration process. Yeah. And that's handled by Duo.
Infamous integration process, which is supposed to be our Lord and Savior, right?
Yeah. And then I go to the course. Yeah, I sit there, and she literally, bro, this course, you're supposed to like learn history and this and that and that.
Yeah.
She goes, this is how you say hello. This is how you say goedemorgen.
No, it's humiliating.
No, literally, there's like a scam. They talk about the Somali children kindergarten scam in the US, but here we have the scam where like people they found this integration institute. They get subsidies and they hire subpar teachers that don't do anything.
Yeah.
And recently, a friend of mine was in one near Wageningen. And actually, this school got into trouble already. And one of the teachers there, a good person who like did the work with her heart, you know, she was commenting on like how the quality is bad and how can these things happen. And these people get kicked out. Meanwhile, the refugees are without classes for weeks, but this institute keeps getting the funding from the municipality.
No, not just from them.
Yeah.
You know who else they get funding from?
Tell me.
They get funding from me.
Yeah, because you have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, yeah. If you don't integrate on time, you have to pay for it. You have to pay a hefty fine of 1,200 euros.
And you cannot, can you choose which institute you take in this case?
Mine was just the Duo. And then I went to in Oostdorp.
Yeah, so a lot of times you cannot even choose the one that you get assigned to. The municipality has a contract with a certain supplier, and you have to stick to that one.
If I remember correctly, you sign up on the website with your address, and then it gives you the nearest one, and then it auto makes the appointment for you. So you don't pick; it just goes, "This is where you go," and then, or maybe I'm wrong, but they only gave me that option because I remember not liking because it was all the way in Oostdorp.
So it's another another fake free market thing where they say, it's private companies, it's not the municipality organizing it, but in the end, it's a fixed market with private investors who just swallow a lot of tax money and they don't deliver.
Yeah. But
And
this
they
story is
also
about
swallow your
loopholes.
money on top of that.
This story is about loopholes. This entire thing, I like the beauty of what was going on. It was almost like if I had a prediction market back then, if Keshi, is that what's called? I do not endorse that shit. Do not go do it. But I would have started betting on like what was gonna go wrong, because like I was with my girlfriend at some point. I was like, this is gonna go wrong. Like, I bet you this is gonna go wrong, and this is gonna go wrong, and this is gonna go wrong, and then all of it did. And so Duo, right? The way that IND found out that I was not illegal, that I am an illegal alien, an illegal alien who eats dogs and cats. I sent Duo a letter. I was like, listen, I'm in your process, and I see that I'm about to have a fine, but I can tell you right now that the moment that I have to go do that, the IND is going to find out that I am not living with my previous partner, and that's going to mess me up. So can you please remove me from that process? And I did that 4 months before the due date.
Yeah.
And then I sent them a letter. They didn't respond.
So basically you're saying, look, I cannot comply with the integration course because the IND is going to rule that I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they didn't reply. And then the IND found out because I had to pull a document from the gemeente finally. So then they found out and they were like, oh, shit. Oh, doi, you're illegal. Get out in 4 weeks.
Oof. So 4-week deportation notice.
Yeah. Get out in 4 weeks. And that was December 2024. That's before my back and leg. And whatever. I had to fight it. I was prepared in my mind. I was like, okay, this is gonna be now the battle, right? Like I've been facing this. I built a life. I built a community. I know that I got support. So then I strengthened myself before I went into this fight. I trained, I leveled up before the final boss. And then during that entire year, I was fighting this process, like objecting, going to the lawyer, which I wanted this to be educational for people in my position. The juridisch loket, all right? very useful resource. But for me, they didn't work. So I actually had to find a private one because they're so busy, they never responded to my email. But they're normally okay with this kind of stuff. So try your luck there first, and then look for any immigration lawyer now. But they're so busy. They're going to be so busy. So if you know you got something coming up, find one now. If you've got something coming up in a year, find one now, because they're so busy, they would just literally not even answer you. So then during this entire year, I was fighting it. I got a good lawyer. And then she was, because of people in financial detriment, you have this thing where you pay 170 euros to your lawyer, and the rest is all cared for. And you get like 8 hours of like them doing stuff. So because of those 8 hours, also they don't work as hard, but they work. Yeah. So then you don't. It's not they don't work as hard, but they don't respond because all of that
goes into the
account, right?
They do the minimal effort required.
Yeah.
But she did a good job, right? She did a really good job. So like she was doing everything that's possible. I'm not disparaging that. I'm disparaging the system in which like this is happening. She's also bound by
which
laws.
kind of goes back to the doctors as well.
A lot of lawyers object to that this funding is not enough to cover their time in any meaningful way. And
she said to me that she was going to donate it.
Some time.
Yeah, she said because I know your case and it says I'll do this. If it takes any longer than 8 hours, I will just do it as volunteer work. So very good, very very good lawyer. Then comes middle of 2025. That's when my back acts up, and then August is when my leg really goes bad, because it was like my back, and then a month later was my leg,
my neck, my back.
My Uzi and my crack.
Thank you.
Not my crack, eh? Not the Oosterpark, man. You know why the Oosterpark crackheads are there?
No.
Because this is not a joke, it's not a setup for sure. There's the best crackhead in town lives in Oost.
Oh, the best crack.
What do you mean the best crack? The best crack or crackhead?
Both. Oh. The best crackhead dealer. Like he's like the. Oh, sorry. Did I not say dealer? Did I just say crackhead?
Just
oh, you said the best crack in town.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I thought like okay, there's just one guy who's really good at.
No, the best crack dealer. Sorry.
Yeah,
and also crackhead, diminishing term. I'm sorry. There are people with feelings, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
do not dehumanize the crackheads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
People who use crack.
No, sorry.
People use crack. Users.
Crack people.
Yeah. Enjoyers. Crack enjoyers.
People of crack. Good. Anyways.
People of meth, maybe. Yeah. So then, in 2025, my leg messes up. And then I get this deportation letter as a birthday present.
So 2025, you get the hernia.
Yeah, and then I ran out of objections to do. So then, during my hernia, I ran out of objections on the case that they were going to deport me. So I was objecting to deportation, and I was trying to find a different way to stay. So then those run out, and that's right after my birthday. My leg is already weird. So then now I'm having to they say final notice, 4 weeks final notice. You cannot stay in the country. There's no way, shape, or form that you can stay in this country while this is happening. So 4 weeks, you gotta go. You've run out of time. But that's not correct, because they are acting above the law.
Right. So they're going against even Dutch law.
Yeah, they're going against Dutch law. Yeah. So the IND can act independently, actually.
Independently of the state.
Of the state until it is brought to the state's attention.
And of course, the people who work at the IND,
they work for the state.
And even when something gets brought to a judge from the IND, it's within we call it bestuursrecht. So it's like when you have a procedure against the state, right? And it's general knowledge within the law field in the Netherlands that if you have any process against the state, the judge will only be very mildly critical of anything that the government institution brought forward, and you have almost all the burden of proof.
Yeah,
and you have to prove like beyond reasonable doubt anything to even put one little crack in the argumentation that the IND or any state institution brought to the judge. So it's a really unfair battle that you're having. The judge is not really impartial in these cases, actually.
Although I will say that my lawyer assured me during the same meeting that she told me that the IND is acting illegally, that she's like, there is still some really left-leaning judges here in Amsterdam. So I'm hoping, and I know she has a list of them and stuff. And my lawyer is also in the queer community, and so they like the communities that I've been involved in like fight the queer cause here.
Yeah.
So she was very like, I know you guys are left leaning. I'm gonna find you a left leaning judge and try to appeal to this thing. So then she's now appealing to the court. But one thing I didn't finish is that the duo, right? Because of this thing, the duo, we objected everything, but then the IND with this letter, they said, no, final note, you are now illegal officially since April of 2021. It is 2025. So they said, I'm only legal for 6 months. So then nothing that I've ever done in the country has ever been under legal pretense, right? But then duo is like, nope, you got to integrate, boy.
You still
got to integrate. Shimmy, brother. Come on, give us that money. And so then I objected it, and then it got to the fucking deurwaarders. And the deurwaarders added another 400 euros to the situation. And then it turned out to be 1,750 euros.
So Duo is fining you for not integrating, while the IND is telling you that you should not be here, and therefore you are not eligible for the integration program.
Correct.
Amazing. Love Dutch bureaucracy.
This is typical Dutch Dutch stuff.
Yeah.
You guys ever play pinball?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a peach-shaped pinball, just getting bounced around between all the possible little bumpers and stuff.
And you're doing this while you're being bounced around in the healthcare system, you're also being bounced around in the immigration system.
Yeah.
And you told me something very nice, maybe to round things off a little bit, but you told me something very nice that you put it in a nice way, that it was kind of like two bullets colliding, where you could see that you were going to get deported right before you finally convinced them to give you a surgery.
Yeah, so and this was the prediction market thing. I was watching this, I was like, and now like, because I can do nothing but think in my house. So like, I'm just literally just like laying there just thinking, and I'm like, what's that meme with all the
guy,
and all the math and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, wait a minute, I can see it. The bureaucratic gods, they're gonna align my final deportation notice with the fact that I need this surgery. And then I was even kind of wrong, because the moment that they told me, which is when these bullets kissed, and actually the bullets were like, actually this happened a month ago. So when they told me, they were like, actually we took your insurance away a month ago and we're just telling you now. And so that caused me to have already gone to my psychiatry appointments, which ended up being 900 out of pocket, because I was in the full impression that I was still insured.
Right. So because then, if you don't have legal status, then you don't have access to the Dutch healthcare insurance system.
And I spent 1 year getting my ADHD therapy.
Even more than that, right? If you don't have a registered address, then you don't have health insurance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but now I don't want insurance anymore, so it's cool.
I'll do my own medicine. Okay.
No, I will just pay for it if I need it. I don't want the insurance.
Oh, he's breaded now.
Yeah. Boy, thick, huh? You got that doctor money.
Well, no, if you look at
what you're
paying monthly and and also the deductible, like for normal things, like if I would need some kind of expensive surgery, then of course it would be an issue, I guess. But for the normal, like everyday healthcare, it would be cheaper for me to pay it myself than to be paying the premium and the deductible.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive still.
But with the surgery, what could you do, like provisional insurance, or like via the CAK or a fund or something that you're like, okay, if I need
you
emergency
do have
surgery.
some routes with the CAK as well to get your medication covered still, but then you do have to go through the process of convincing the pharmacy that this exists, because they will tell you that no, you are not insured, you have to pay. But yeah, if you explain to them how it actually works, which is really funny that you go to the pharmacy and then you have to explain them how it works when it comes to reimbursing for people who aren't insured. And they will make you feel like shit as well too, right? So they will, I went there recently with a friend who doesn't have insurance as well. And then they will, it's just the way of, the way in which they approach it, that they make you feel like you're a criminal for not being insured, or like you have some sort of disease. And then she started explaining the process, that there's like contracted pharmacies that you can go to, but this was actually for people without insurance from outside the EU, which have a different route than people within the EU.
Oh my God.
So then you get into this thing like, I was born here, I am a citizen here, I'm not from outside of the EU, I just don't have insurance. But they don't know how it works, and they make a mess of it. That's it, basically.
Yeah.
And you have to explain it to them. And also another...
But they didn't want to hear it. I go there and I try to explain to them. They're like, I don't speak English.
No, but you have to go to... They will say 5 times no, or they come up with some excuse, and you have to keep pushing like, no, I know this is the truth. This is the way to do it, and you can get it insured and reimbursed, but they will keep refusing or acting like they don't know.
And
I don't
this
know
is
what
like
the problem
throughout this
is.
whole process, by the way, you have instant discrimination to people who are less capable.
Yeah.
Because you need to navigate this yourself.
Yeah.
So if at any point you are not awake or persistent or
If you
smart
don't know
enough,
about it, or you're not assertive,
or
then
educated
you will
enough
go.
that
Yeah.
you happen to know that this is how it works.
Then
Yeah.
you will walk out the door by with paying for your own medication while it should be covered, or you walk away without medication.
Yeah.
And apparently a lot of pharmacists are very comfortable with this outcome. And I would say as a healthcare professional, you should be very uncomfortable with that outcome. But that's the
easier
thing.
for the
People
paperwork.
don't, that's one of the problems, that people don't feel in healthcare, don't feel uncomfortable with refusing people based on insurance or immigration status. This is one of the bigger issues, I think, why this goes wrong so many times. And actually it's very accepted and normalized to be rejecting people outright on this basis.
Yeah.
Specifically when
But you know what's funny? I pursued I pursued all these options at some point, and this is deeper even in the story, in the timeline, because there's always more. But I started calling them. I called the CAK, and then they were like, but you have to get this thing from the SVG, and then I called the SVG, which handles like this the act that says that if you work here legally in the Netherlands, you get health insurance. But then I was like, man, but I don't work legally here in the Netherlands. Like, but then I have some other lady telling me that's like, no, but there's a fund in this CAK. But so I called the CAK and I asked about the fund. They said I need to get the thing from the SVG. And then I called the thing. They're like, nope, it sounds like you need the SVG. And then I call the SVG. I send them an email.
So many times can you guys talk to each other?
Yeah.
You work for the same government, right?
Bro, they pretend they don't talk to each other, but I swear to God, they do.
If they want to talk to each other, they know how to find the
duo and the IND thing. I'm like, do you not communicate? They're like, no, we are not in contact. But then later on, they were timing the next fucking, because they keep sending me stuff, bro. They keep sending me bills.
This is 100% true. They will pretend that they cannot communicate, but when it benefits them, they exchange all kind of stuff that they shouldn't even be exchanging.
Insider trading.
Themselves. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, literally, because you know what? They timed. They keep sending me bills. Duo still. They send me a bill that not a bill. Sorry, a letter that I have to integrate.
Still,
bro. They still send me letters that I have to integrate, and then I had to call them and be like, guys, I cannot. You already fined me 1,750 euros. You cannot do this.
Yeah.
And then they're like, nope, sorry. And you know what? Because I had a due date on which I could have gotten my new visa that I did get. End of story, spoiler alert, I do have a 2-year visa. Yeah.
You do have a visa.
I have a 2-year visa, but I'll explain why that one's also tricky. I had a due date for when I could get that. So then the CAK or the duo sent me a integration notice that I have to integrate a month after that. So then I'm like, oh, so hang on a minute. You're telling me that right then I have the thing that says, say in January, they would have told me if I could have stayed in the country or not. And then if I couldn't have, you were going to fine me in February for a thing that I, again, cannot integrate that I already paid the fine for? Come on, this is ridiculous. And so now we're...
Sorry, I have this cough. But
I'm trying to find this.
Because this is where the juicy part starts. And this is where I got the evidence.
Oh, you still have juice?
No, yeah, brother. You don't even know. Look at the bills, bro. I brought every single one of them.
I'm trying to find
my God.
This LinkedIn post that I saved. It's from a neurologist in the Netherlands.
You should
and it really fits your story so good. So I want to do it, but I have to find it.
Yeah.
These are all bills amounting to 10,000 euros.
10,000 euros in fines from the bureaucratic hell of being in the Dutch healthcare system and the Dutch immigration system.
And I'm going to read some of the numbers in these bills because it's ridiculous, huh? In that ambulance that I called, you know what I found out? In the ambulance thing, you can actually see they charge per kilometer.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So then
For
they were
what?
going, they charge per kilometer because now they have to give you an invoice breakdown, which you normally never see. You go straight to your insurance. But now that I get to have a little peek in their thing. Yeah, hang on a minute. Where is this? Yeah, bro, all of these are bills. This is insane. This is a different bill.
Oh, and that was your
That was
paperwork gone.
no, that's an invoice for a power supply unit for my computer. 400. It's just to read it. 400 euros.
At least the morphine
86.
is affordable.
The
Yeah,
morphine
yeah.
is affordable.
176 euros. I paid this 3 times. This is the Raad voor rechtsbijstand.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man! Like, you understand? When I see one of these blue letters, I get immensely pissed off.
Yeah.
Can
this
you
one I brought-
imagine life?
This is my letter telling me I got my DAFT visa, which cost 5,000 euros. After all of these bills, I still have to pay 5,000 euros. So,
It's bureaucratic violence, right? It's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
the
systematic
state,
abuse.
knows how to do very, very good. Yeah.
130 euros.
And
There's a fat one for 1,000 euros right here.
let's read this.
for
Let's
what?
read this.
Ambulance.
The ambulance.
Ambulance, 991 euros. So then that's right after they called me to say that my insurance
Sorry,
was
what
gone a
type
month
of-
prior. That was 900 bucks. I don't even have this bill. So that's already 1,750 from Duo, 900 for my therapy, which I had spent 1 year trying to chase, and I finally got it. Then they took away my insurance and then they removed that for me. It made me pay 900 bucks. Then another 991 euros. And right here, they have a breakdown for the kilometers. Where's that shit? Yeah,
For
yeah,
yeah.
There,
ambulance.
there's a funny thing about the pricing of these kind of things. I know, for example, from the emergency GP places, right? They also do home visits with their car, and it costs, I think, most of the time like 250 euros or something. But these kind of prices, they have nothing to do with any realistic sort of cost associated with
Yeah, of course.
transporting you.
What vehicle cost 1,000 euros? How long were you in this
Yeah.
vehicle? 5 days?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah,
I was-
people gonna blame it on.
So what they do is
The dog and cat
they
buffet was
take the total operational cost of this operation and they divide it by the amount of transports they do in a year, and that will be the cost per transport.
Insane.
And then you look at the cost per transport, and it's like 900 or 400. They will say, transport is very expensive, so we have to reduce the amount of transports that we do as much as possible. But if you have like a slight economic brain, you will know that if you increase the amount of transport, the amount of cost per transport will be lower.
Decrease.
So there's
I mean, this is. I'm getting furious. I'm getting furious. You don't understand. These papers
so
being on my
these
table.
prices sort of get inflated
Like 20.
by the reflex of trying to reduce them as well, because
Yeah.
the overhead will be the same, but they try to reduce the amount of transports they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been reduced to a statistic. Then,
Sorry.
then immediately
Sorry for
after.
dehumanizing you.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's what I've become, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've become a really good one because I'm in this. They're like, oh my god, this guy's a fucking money cow, and so I'm the government's daddy. They think I have all the bucks. You know, they're just gonna keep milking me dry. Another 300, and this was like one of the very first bills I got, and I love this one so much. It is 300 euros. It is for my brain medicine, the one that allowed me to operate this entire thing, because the deadlines, it would be like, I have a 2-week deadline for the IND, 2-week deadline for the hospital, 2-week deadline for this, and I was just like the whole time in excruciating pain, the whole time on opioids. This one is 298 for my Tentin, for my ADHD medicine, which I very direly needed and finally got. Then not only the 900 for the therapy and then 300 for this, then another 14 euros, but then they just keep piling
that's
up.
the morphine. Morphine is really affordable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
morphine is affordable. Yeah. And it's just this, and it's just like 90 euros, 80 euros, and that's just not even the Ubers, and
Right,
the
yeah.
dual letter's not here. And then the 5,000 that I had to pay to get my 2-year visa. And I only have a 2-year visa that limits me to a freelancer market. I'm crippled. I
Right.
cannot lift.
Yeah.
And it's just like this idea of systematic abuse. Like, how can this happen? Why is this allowed?
Yeah, and it just shouldn't matter whether you have a visa, whether you are visiting here as a tourist, whether you are here illegally, whatever the case may be. We start the Constitution, right, with the first article, and it doesn't say people with Dutch nationalities. It says whoever resides in this country has right to equal treatment.
Yeah.
So if you would look at our Constitution, it shouldn't matter at all, like if you have some sort of status or visa, you should be treated equally, and you get bombarded with these kind of bills, which make it impossible for you maybe almost to get like decent healthcare. And this shouldn't be the case. It's like your human right to get it the same way as anyone else here.
There was only one person ever that treated me really nice, and his name is Jan Yoon, and he's one of the psychiatrists at the ADHD Centraal, and he looked at me, he's like, what they're doing to you is inhumane. And it was the only time I ever heard. And
that must feel so validating.
But then he told me, I can't even talk to you right now because the call that you're making for me right now would cost you 150 euros. So I'm just making this for free just to tell you I'm going to put in some medicine for you. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Maybe blur out his name or something. But yeah, oopsie. He was like, I'm sorry. Maybe in 4 months when you have it again, maybe we can try it again. But good luck until then. I can't talk to you anymore. Bye.
Yeah, that's insane. Look, I think we've been through the hellhole of all of this. I want to quickly, before we get to how we can help you, I just want to summarize it, right? So,
yeah. But can I just one really quick thing though? Because,
go on.
Because I have a list of a really quick summary of what the IND is doing illegally. Because I have claimed on camera that the IND is acting illegally, and I can tell you in every specific way.
Yeah,
for sure they are.
Because I have an open case with the judge that once if I win, then they have to judge me again for the conditions that I applied with in September of last year, and I sent them to you.
Oh yeah, you sent the
yeah. So denying the fundamental rights to be heard, and you have 2 objections or 2 or 3, and then a hearing. And in the hearing, that is the most important thing, and that's on Article 8 ECHR, and that's that if you are heard by the judge and the conditions are met at the end, or are heard by the IND, and you meet those conditions with. So you've been speaking to robots and paperwork, but once you speak to a person there, then there is the good thing that happens, which is humanity. And then you can appeal your case visually to a person. They denied me. They flat out said, nope, you're not having that. You're leaving the country. That's illegal. Then they ignored the EU court rulings of Kachab and Chakroon, which is the adjustable rate of income that you can have proportional to the amount of spending that you have in a year, right? So whereas you have the 2,000 or 1,800s euros that you have to meet every month, if your spending is less, because they assume that every average citizen is spending this much, and then this is legal precedent, meaning that other people with the EU court ruling have won on. They declined that and said, nope. And they did it on an opinion.
Yeah, they will say, we apply this standard and we just apply it. And then only if you appeal it, that's how you can get an exception.
But, but in that, he said, it is evidential that this is not the case. So it's like that with no circumstantial evidence, or with no like actual literal evidence. He goes, it is evidential that this is not the case. They dismissed the financial guarantees, which again, there's like another legal precedent that says that if you have some guarantor, like a parent or something like that, that their money can also be included in the thing. And so that's also acted illegally, acted above that. And then one of the most serious ones is that, because I am from Brazil. I'm from Brazil, and I moved to the United States at 10 years old via a green card lottery. If right now, because of the political climate, if I get deported to the US, that's life-threatening.
You might get deported to, well, first of all, you might disappear in the ICE Gestapo system, and just disappear. I don't know where you end up.
In Ecuador, El Salvador.
Yeah, or alligator Alcatraz, like
Guantanamo.
At this point. Seriously, or you might get human trafficked. Like there's people disappearing by the hundreds, right? So, and even if everything goes well, you're gonna be humiliated through this concentration camp type prison system they have now for immigrants in the U.S. And then eventually sent to Brazil.
And then they also were ready to deport my girlfriend, and that's another one of the things where it's like,
God.
Yeah, they were like, we would sooner have your girlfriend move out of the country, which they're a Dutch citizen. We would sooner have you and them move out and build a life in the U.S. than you stay exactly as you are, no touches to your life at all. So like if I didn't change anything about my life, nothing would have happened, and they would have just written it out, and then I would have been fine. Because we met the income requirement. We met everything. Everything was fine. But they said, no, we would rather a Dutch citizen move out because they're taking housing away from things where it's like, no, it's in the it's a family house. You can't, I'm not taking it from anybody. I've never applied for any toeslag of anything other than the zorgtoeslag. And that's it.
Yeah.
And they paint me out to be a fucking criminal.
Which healthcare should be free anyways, by the way, but yeah.
Can I get into the hernia a little bit more? Because it's kind of funny from a medical perspective. I think it's, you brought forward like a case that's quite exemplary in a lot of ways. Because it's general consensus to treat patients according to evidence-based medicine is what they call it, right? So, yeah, you treat according to the best evidence. And so in the cases of a hernia, they normally say that conservative treatment, which means not doing surgery, is preferred because in most cases it resolves by itself, right? But what I see a lot is that what doctors apply to their patients is not what they apply to themselves. So you have these kind of coughs with little children, they get especially during the fall time. And it's not dangerous, but it sounds like they're choking, and it gets parents stressed a lot of the times. And you could easily solve it for a night by giving a little bit of dexamethasone, so some corticosteroids. But according to the evidence, it's not necessary because they heal by themselves and it's not dangerous. But then if you look at what the doctors practice when it comes to their own children, you will see that a lot of times if their children suffer from this, then they will treat them with
dexamethasone. Then all of a sudden they get treated like a human, right?
Yes.
Whose pain is worth something. Yeah.
So I recently read a LinkedIn post by a neurologist. I will not say her name, but I will read part of the post because it's kind of, it shows this double standard that is present in the healthcare community. So first of all, also we have to recognize, right, that a hernia it just hurts like hell, and a lot of times this pain does not get valued like it should be sometimes by doctors. It's like they will frame it as something you just have to deal with. We cannot change it, blah, blah, blah. So this is a neurologist, and she has treated a lot of people with hernias. And she describes in this post how she got a hernia herself. And the way she's describing it make it seem like this is the first time that she realized that a hernia actually really hurts, which to me is like, you see these kind of patients on a daily basis. How can you not be tapped into the amount of pain that this causes, right? It's excruciating. You cannot live with this kind of pain. You cannot live your life normally. Well, for her, it took having a neck hernia herself to realize this.
An experience, yeah.
And then she is describing that I'm very happy to be close to the fire, which means like to be connected within the healthcare community. So I got surgery quickly, and I'm really thankful for this. But I do realize that we have to make our patients sometimes wait for months, and I'm really sorry about that. Studies show that after 1 year, there's no difference between people who had surgery and people who did not have surgery. So this is the evidence-based part. So she's recognizing that according to the evidence, there's no difference in outcome between surgery and non-surgery within 1 year. But when she herself got a hernia, she used her connections within the hospital to get surgery very quickly. And the fact that she is posting this publicly on LinkedIn shows that, I mean, I would be ashamed to post something like this. I would be like, oh, I cheated the system because I'm a doctor and my patients are being fucked over by
a little bit moral offloading. Yeah. I want to say sorry without saying it.
But they are a person like this, they post it on LinkedIn. So this shows to me how unaware they are of how they treat themselves so differently than their patient, and they really see their patient as something different than what they are themselves, right?
Yeah, it's we're not the same.
There was a lady at the hospital. She was like, "Yeah, it's just pain. I've had a hernia," and I was like, "Yeah. So what happened to you?" She's like, "It went away in 2 weeks."
Okay, lucky
I'm like,
you.
yeah, lucky you. It's been 7 months.
Yeah.
And I can't walk.
Lucky you.
But why is it so? Why is it that they make everyone wait for their treatment? Is it just negligence from the practitioner side? Is it because we don't have enough healthcare in general in the Netherlands, or is it because of the insurance company?
Multiple things behind it, right? Because you need an MRI first of all to really definitively conclude that there's a hernia. And we've really limited the amount of MRIs that you can get. So the waiting list for MRI is already high. So they put some sort of break on that. So you go to the GP and they will first say, you are very young, you have very low chance of having a hernia, and your symptoms aren't so typical. So I think it's not a hernia, just wait it out. That's where you have to wait already. Then when you finally do go to the neurologist, then you have to wait for the MRI. And then you're probably already 6 months in. And then they will say, you do have a hernia, but normally it resolves by itself. So just wait a few more months and we will see. And if you still have it in a few more months and it's really bad, then we maybe can consider the surgery.
Right.
And then you get the call that you got. And then you will be like, do you really want the surgery? They will still try to hold you off.
But why is it? Because we can't as a nation afford to give people surgeries to stop their pain?
Is it because there's too little people to do it?
It is a lack of people to do it, I guess, to treat everyone. That's part of it. And then there's this justification in science that is very convenient to just say that there's no difference in outcome after 1 year.
But that's not true.
Well,
because I've read data that said, well, I don't know if it's not true, but I have read data that is consistent across multiple medical sources that I've seen, is that the chance of reoccurrence on a person that didn't have surgery is like 60, and I might be wrong, but 60 to 70% more likely. And I don't know if 60% more likely to occur than a person who didn't, or 60% of people get an instance of recurrence, but a person who has had the surgery, it's almost like 10%. 90% of people have it without. Yeah. That's the data that I've read. I'm not trying to counter,
but it could be different data. Like maybe the data she's referring to here is also right. It's referring maybe to the first episode and then checking after 1 year, which is a different study than checking reoccurrences of the same disease. So they could both be correct still.
But I do want to jump in and say I saw another doctor, a Dutch doctor, who was discussing this, and what she explained is that because of the health insurance scam that we have, basically doctors are forced to do a lot more paperwork than actual care. So even though we would have enough doctors, most of their time is being spent on paperwork, justifying the treatment that they're giving their clients, so that the clients don't have to can get treatment covered from the health insurance company.
It is partly true because the healthcare insurance companies, they also enforce this evidence-based medicine. So you can only get things reimbursed if it's evidence-based. But in practice, the reality is that if the neurologist would just write down that it's indicated for you, you would get it insured, and nobody would check if you would fulfill the diagnostic criteria or whatever.
Doesn't the health insurance companies put in an ungodly and an unnecessary amount of paperwork in order to slow down this process so that they have less costs? That
you know, it's funny. I caught an instance of understaffing because there was a possibility for me to get that surgery maybe faster if I called, and then the hospital kept bouncing me around, and then I landed to the because the doctor just wasn't scheduling my thing. He said, okay, we'll get you your surgery, but then he just wasn't scheduling it. And then it took weeks. I was like, come on, if you schedule it quicker, because I saw the bullets colliding. I was like, if you schedule it quicker, maybe I get a chance to get the surgery before the insurance thing. Yeah. And I called to the, what do they call it? The operator, like the surgery operator, like the planning.
People who schedule the planning.
The schedule operator, whatever. And then I called, some guy picks up, and he was like, hey, I'm a scheduling operator. And I was like, okay, can you schedule? He's like, no, the girl who schedules your surgeries is on vacation. So you have to wait 2 weeks for her to come back. And I was like, he was like, "There's no other operator in this hospital that could do it." I was like, "What do you mean? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Operate my surgery."
What do you mean? Your job is replaceable by AI. What are you even doing?
He's a surgery operator.
But not for your surgery.
No.
So unfortunately, I cannot help you. You have to be at the other desk.
Yes, which is next to me, and it's empty.
Yeah. Yeah. Computer says no.
Yeah. Man, there's no one here.
Yeah.
There's no one here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm busy. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Okay. I think
the amount of paperwork actually required for the insurance company, I think there's not so much of it. It's not the US where you have to get like pre-authorization and all this kind of stuff. So actually, if the doctor would just request it, playing you would get it insured. But there's just a culture of fear, a defensive culture of fear in general, that you have to abide by guidelines and you have to write everything down, and this increases a lot of the paper load.
Okay.
But it's not so much the insurance company. Maybe it's part of it, but it's not the majority part of the paperwork.
Interesting. We're gonna interview her next time.
Yeah. Maybe she has different insight.
Because she put it very simply in a way that I understand from looking at American politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
The doctor is forced by the insurance company to do all of the paperwork in order to justify giving care, and therefore most of the time is spent on paperwork rather than treatment. And because of that, we have a shortage of people who can give treatment. Anyways,
I do think that a lot of people on the floor, they do have the impression that they have to do a lot of stuff that in fact they don't have to do.
Mm-hmm. Just one comment here from the chat is that I have a friend who comes from a very Dutch family living right in front of the museum line, so probably a little bit wealthy, having two parents working high up as high up lawyers, and he also had a hernia. Within 2 weeks of the MRI and diagnosis, he got surgery. After surgery, he got physical therapy for 1 to 2 years. Amazing.
Good for him.
I do have to say that one time at neurosurgery in an academic hospital in the Netherlands, there was a woman who was the wife of a multinational company, and she also got in through these certain ways. So there is some corruption at that level. Yeah. And this is also the moment that I learned about the abbreviation that I never heard before in my life. It's OSM, in Dutch, onsoort mensen. In English, it would translate to our kind of people. Yeah. So
you can if you're in the right kind of people, you can get preferred treatment.
Then you get a different kind of treatment.
Yeah. Yes. Look, Pete, thank you so much for joining. We've been going for over an hour now. I think an hour and a half. But it takes time to go through all the different necks and crevices of
because this one's complicated.
Yeah. I mean, and with all this paperwork here, how can we help you? For anyone who is still paying attention, and let me know, how can we help you get over these costs?
Yeah, so I've been a long-time member of Radion, and they have granted me the rights. They have granted me the rights that some haven't, to allow me to do a fundraiser event there. But because I'm an event producer and a filmmaker, and I have the skill set and the friends and community and all that, I've managed to gather the resources to make an incredible production. Something I've never done before, something I've never done before.
Yeah, you're starting to sound a little
to the scale that it's never been done before. I swear it's the biggest production in the world. Big guys all around. Such big, beautiful guys. Anyway, a big production.
Call you in just to do Trump impersonation?
Absolutely. Okay. Any day of the week.
We could have done this whole podcast like this.
Yes, but they would never charge me money. I would charge them money. That's the situation.
Yeah.
But so because I gathered a beautiful community that loves me so much, and that I've labored for them for almost free for these last 5 years, and I seldom ask for anything in return. But this time I reached out, and they were like, yes. Everybody said yes. Everybody I reached out to said yes. So I got 30 people, some of the most amazing artists that I know. I got an entire multicam production for a Jimmy Kimmel style talk show that I'm putting myself together. Nice. Multicam, the whole tech thing. It's going to be incredible. I can't even explain it to you in one sentence, much less several sentences. But it contextualizes my experience in the same confusion and craziness that I experienced with the hopes that without me having to tell you, you will feel it. You will feel the confusion. You will feel that thing. So come March 19th, from 7 p.m. to 3 in the morning. And if you can't make it, you're not in Amsterdam, you can join in because it's going to be live streamed. The entire thing will be live streamed. You can see the entire party, because there's a party and a talk show. You can see everything. But you can't really see everything. There's some things that you can only see if you come to the event. There's going to be merchandise that I handmade, like 60 shirts or so, sweaters.
Big, yeah.
We made some special products. There's donation incentives across the entire budget. So if you are, and the tickets are super, super affordable. It's $10. And if you really don't have the money, but you want to come experience it, just hit me up on Instagram, _StoneJelly. Reach out to me, say you're financially detrimented, but you want to come have some fun. I'll get you a discount code because I'm not greedy. Yeah. I just want to
get back to zero.
I just want to get back to zero. I do all this and then I make all this effort. I spent over 400 hours doing this because I didn't want to sit around and beg for money. Yeah. After all that, just to get to zero.